Hey gang, I am not doing super hot today, but hopefully I feel better in a few hours. It got super cold overnight. I've woken up with a bit of the sniffles. Also, I think whatever I ate for breakfast made my stomach very uneasy. So this is going to be a good day. I'm sure. Well, we got 10 minutes until the thing starts. So let's take a look at who's playing today. So we have a Bridge Winners bracket up here. Matt says, really not sure about fantasy bracket. Yeah, same. So I did notice, and I don't know if anything actually came of it, but let me scroll through Bridge Winners and just see is this slimy? I wonder if this has anything to do with no, this is not the thing. The hand yesterday. So Harrison's team wins. Harrison Luba. They were on Team Baker, I think. Oh, I guess we can't figure out. Team Baker. Yeah, these guys. So we watched them earlier, and they definitely had the really scummy thing taking advantage of UI. Which, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say what's actually going on over there, but they were way behind and ended up making a comeback. Anyway, I don't know if I'm supposed to just avoid watching them or if I'm supposed to watch more to get more evidence, but, like, this is not acceptable from Harrison, and, like, obviously he should have known better. He should still know better. I don't think he's going to learn. I don't think anyone's going to tell him. But we do have all the top 3 seeds playing today. So Nichols, Zimmerman, and Fleischer had their day off. They're probably well rested. I can't imagine that they played any sort of warm-up yesterday. So they're coming in against, not the strongest of teams, but Nickel has some world champions on the opposite side of the table. Zimmerman as well, I think. And Fleischer gets this four-handed squad: Ash, Holt, Tomasini, and Norton. 2 pretty strong partnerships playing together there. Rosenthal makes it through. They're up against Dyson. Leibowitz wins their match up against Vendanta. Shorey and Millens playing up against each other. Millens, other than Shan Wong, who I think is rather familiar with the Shorey guys. I don't know much about the other Chinese players on the team. I mean, Jing Liu, I think we've seen a couple of times. Yi Chao Chen, I think we've seen, and Lin Lin Hu was playing in the Platinum pairs earlier. Street playing up against Bramley. Honestly, the match could go either way. I mean, Sam Lev and Dan Lev, not the strongest partnership, but Weichsel, Krikorian, Bramley, Woolsey, gonna be formidable opponents, although the Street team often does pretty well. Silver Sudden Destroyers had a huge upset yesterday, coming back against, who was it? Rubenstein, I think. So that's a big win for them. I wish we could have seen that on VooGraph, but we weren't able to. They're up against Hell. And I mean, this could be a big run for them. They're playing up against probably one of the weaker teams still in the event. Obviously, they're one of the lower seeds, 25. Does help to overtake one of the top teams if you're able to do so, because then your next round opponent is going to be significantly weaker, in theory, than the one you just faced up against. LOL up against Dinkin could be an interesting match. Welland and Aachen coming off there. How'd they do in the WBT? They did play, right? They played in the pairs. I forget where they ended up finishing up, but pretty big honor to play in that regardless. Lal and Milner, and of course Mahmood and Gold. Zia just coming off his fresh win in the Platinum pairs with Kevin Rosenberg. And then Dinkin, we saw a little bit of them yesterday. Looks like they had things well handled up against their first round opponent. Hans and Plackett could get a little bit interesting. Both four-handed teams. Hans finishing first and second in the WBTs earlier. Although I don't know if these guys ended up playing in the Platinum pairs or if they had other commitments for those events, but we didn't really see them. Plackett ends up once again four-handed, so Eriksson and Plackett were leading the WBT pairs after day one. Hey Craig, how's it going? Is this my cue to get on Discord and join you? Probably is. Let's do that. Hey.
Morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm sure it will be at some point today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nowhere to go but up, right?
Yeah. Let's see, where was I? Hans and Plackett. Goodman and Roman. So Roman, technically an upset over the Hammond team based on seeding points. But
Tell us how you really feel.
I mean, just it's a technicality.
My sense is that those two were fairly evenly matched. If you think that Hammond was just massively overseeded wherever they were, then I won't dispute it.
Yeah. But so Goodman up against Roman. I mean, again, it could go either way. I think Goodman probably favored by, 30 or 40 at the outset.
Remind me, so it's Roman Buckhalter, and remind me who the other pair is?
The Baccarans.
Right. Yeah, I think the Roman team will have some chances. I think they're all pretty good players, but yeah, as you say, I agree with the point spread.
Yeah.
Do we know that we actually have every match on ViewGraph, or is it a selection?
Oh, dude, there's no way we have every match.
Well, you seem confident that Roman was going to be one of them, which surprised me. I think the Silverstein, there's another poll, the Silverstein Destroyers, which is Avery and Jack, the young New York pair, Aaron Silverstein's daughter. So I'd love to watch them for a quarter, just to know them a little bit and to see what the juniors are up to.
Yeah, for sure. I think we did watch yesterday. Maybe you didn't, but I was here. We checked them out for a quarter yesterday, I think.
The Silverstein Destroyers? I don't think they were on at all.
Really?
Yeah, team now 8, formerly 51.
It's McAllister's team. I'm pretty sure McAllister was playing.
It is McAllister's team. I thought I was here. You know what? I was here for 3.5 quarters. I swear to God, I don't recall seeing them unless we peeked in on them after we finished the segment that we were really watching.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But yeah, huge result for them. Wolves and Kane. I think this match could go either way. Kane has a couple of younger players, Joris van Lankveld and Vandenbos, and Wolfson has a bunch of more seasoned players on the team with Janusar, Rang, Eckenberg, Garner, Wolfson, Berkowitz.
Yeah, I would say the difference in sponsor quality in that match could be key because Wolfson is a much stronger player than Patricia Kane.
Sure. We got 1 minute to go, and I think we've talked about most of the other matches. Hanlon, Bailey, again, kind of getting down towards these seeds that are close together. Matches could kind of go either way. As Craig mentions, may depend on how the sponsors do in the first couple of segments to see where the match shakes out.
It's very hard. If you have a competent sponsor, not even a great one, it's very hard for, especially a team that's evenly matched or even slightly weaker, to overcome that. Like, the weaker sponsor could easily just be worth minus 50 imps over 2 quarters on a bad day. Like, sometimes they're not, but, if it's just a day where they have to make a bunch of decisions, you could be out of the match before you ever sit down in some of these cases.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Okay, looks like we are off and running.
Here we go.
So let's see. We have Zimmerman, Leibowitz, and Hans. I'm interested in checking out Hans.
As am I. Not that I have no interest in the other teams, but we see them all the time. We don't get to see Hans or the Plaka team very often at all.
Yeah, also Hans is still my pick to win the thing, so I'm curious to see how they'll do.
I think it's, I don't think they're a favorite, but I think as a sleeper pick, that's also mine. I haven't filled out my bracket yet.
Oh, really? Don't you have to before the set?
You have to do it before scores are posted in any match this quarter, I believe, is the standard. So we have at least half a dozen boards for me to get on that.
Ah, I see. So you can check in to see how they're playing to decide if you want to pick them.
I'm not going to be that kind of scumbag. I just didn't get around to it yesterday.
Yeah.
So, looks like we don't have any players seated yet. I guess we just go to the open room and see who shows up.
Yeah, that was going to be my plan. So both these teams are four-handed, no sponsor.
Plak's a sponsor, but a good playing sponsor, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we had talked about him. He was a BlackRock or possibly Blackstone executive for quite some time, but is also a Welsh expert at international, just one of these guys who was a good bridge player and, decided that life had more important things for him.
Yeah, and so this should be a relatively strong match overall. I'm kind of... man, we watch so much Edgerton Wibley. I kind of want to watch them because, they're super fun, but I also kind of want to just, watch Hans and Hung because we don't see them all that often. I think they're a precision pair, though, so maybe their auctions are going to be less appealing to try and pick apart.
I would say, I think it's likely we'll stick with them through at least the first 2 segments, so why don't we just watch each pair once?
Sure, sounds good.
So I'll just go to whoever's at what I'm calling the open room table 5, and then whichever pair we watch, we'll watch the other one the next set.
Yeah. Seems like a good
two
plan.
four-handed teams facing off, a little unusual. Most pairs really prefer to have the opportunity to take a break. Like on day 1 and 2, whatever, it's fine. But, all of a sudden, Hans and Hung, were they in the Platinum Final? I don't recall.
No, I don't even know if they were in the semifinal. I can't imagine they took 3 days off, but they played in the WBTs earlier.
Right, so, if you had played in the Platinum Final, and certainly plenty of people in this field did, and you were in the WBT, as some of the internationals were, all of a sudden, today's Tuesday, you've been playing really high-level bridge for a week, playing every board in all the pair games. At some point, you want to, have an opportunity to take a segment off, and if you're four-handed, you don't get one until, possibly the weekend Swiss.
Right, yeah.
So, against that, of course, you do only want to play six-handed if you're improving the team. And, improving the team can mean just giving your other pairs a rest, but you don't want to add a pair that's going to, cost imps relative to your tired self. That would be really devastating.
Yeah, it's true. I don't recall the last time a four-handed. Well, actually, I recall a time a four-handed team won. It wasn't that long ago. The Finn Kolesnik, Ish Del Monte, Thomas Pask, Simon Cope. That would have been 2022 Soloways or something. But
yeah, I'm taking, you do see four-handed teams from time to time. I'll take a look here while you continue.
Yeah, but it is difficult. Like, you can certainly make a run deep in this sort of an event with a four-handed team, but when you get to that, final weekend, Friday, Saturday, for the semifinals and finals, as it will be here, it's really hard to justify having a four-handed team that you expect to just consistently outperform your opponents as they, get to sit out and take some rest every day. It really grows the disparity between the well-rested teams and those that have been kind of struggling to just play high-level bridge day after day after day without getting any sit-outs.
Yeah, so 2015, Duan Balkis via Madala won four-handed in 13, which I had a small assist in because I was on an appeals committee that swung the result of a match. Auken Welland and Morton and Dennis Bilda. Welland and Auken had an appeal against Helgamo Hellness that just no one was around because the screens had finished so late. So I was drafted to be on this committee, and it cost Zimmerman a round of 16 match, and Auken Welland went on to win. But yeah, as you say, part of it is also, it's not just that you get tired. Like, just sometimes you have a bad set and you just want to be able to go take a nap and walk around and clear your head. And again, not an opportunity four-handed teams get.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a little bit of politics in this, which is that, like, yes, you can put together some really strong four-handed teams, but generally most of the best players are going to be looking for work in these events, and work often comes with a six-handed team because the sponsor is going to want to sit out half of the boards. So we do have cards.
And we're actually coming in before any action for the first time, so possibly Real Bridge has sorted out that hurdle. So got, looks like a weak no trump. It's 14. I wonder, maybe the alert is just because he gave the range and not an alert. 14-16.
Yep, 14 to 16. I mean, North-South are a precision pair. I don't know exactly what their conventions are in general, but we'll probably see a little bit of relay action over their strong club. West balances with two clubs. Maybe a bit light, but...
No, I was gonna say, I think bidding is mandatory in the West cards, but we'll see if Plackett has the experience to agree, and he does. I think you cannot pass that hand.
So
especially because here they probably don't have a card showing double as East if they're treating this as strong, so the East hand could be quite a bit better. South has kind of a maximum pass here with an ace and a king.
Sure. So he spits two diamonds, asking about the better major. Double by South, showing some values, and two hearts by West.
Yeah, so E-Spit is just, normally says I have equal length in the majors, so it gives West total flexibility to do it on a 5-4 hand, or, if you're very lucky, a 6-5 hand.
Yeah, well, looks like South's double actually showed diamonds in this auction. I mean, probably a useful agreement. I was wondering if it was just going to be general cards, but showing diamonds allows North to compete with 3 diamonds over there. Ace, Queen, third.
Yeah, this is pretty good for North-South, right? They've got a couple of spades, a heart, and a couple of clubs to lose, but it looks like 2 hearts, even in the 5-2, is going to play, comfortably enough. You can play the queen of clubs and just duck the king or something. Deal with your spades.
Yeah.
I think 2 hearts was going to make, so this won't, but it's, win a couple against that result.
Yeah, it might have been challenging to make 2 hearts. I mean, it looks like the defense probably scores at least one trick in every suit, and then the 9 of hearts might score, especially if the defense gets diamonds going to tap declare a couple times. The jack of spades might score as well. So
Yeah, if they play a tapping defense, you might be able to ruff a spade and take, like 5 hearts, 1 spade, and 2 clubs. That's 8.
yeah. Yeah, it was going to be touch and go and 2 hearts. Hey, Therese, good afternoon to you.
So this, the diamond split is gonna probably be, the key to this hand with 2 spades, a heart, and it's actually gonna be the down 2 trick. So
Yeah, it's certainly no guarantee that bidding on to 3 diamonds was the right thing to do. I mean, generally, these part score decisions at Imps tend to be just like, if you don't think you're making a game, pass stuff out. But here, it's a little bit different, where South has already said that they don't think they're making a game by passing a no trump. So the double purely was just, I have some diamonds, what do you think, North? And North...
Yeah.
4 triple 3, I mean, does have a diamond fit. It's, I can't really fault North for bidding 3 diamonds, but...
I can.
Yeah, you can.
So, Larry Cohen would fault North for bidding 3 diamonds.
Okay, fine.
Because I think North can be fairly sure that East-West have a maximum of 8 hearts. In fact, they only have a 7-card heart fit. Their best fit was clubs with 8 of those. And your partner doesn't have 6 diamonds, you would have transferred to them. So from a law of total tricks perspective, 3 diamonds is bad.
Right. Yeah, from a law of total tricks perspective, 3 diamonds is probably very subpar.
Excuse me. I'm fine. I just didn't have some coffee. Yeah, so, obviously North can't be totally sure how many hearts East-West have, but it sounds like neither East nor West was that excited about their potential major suit fits, which suggests 8 at most. Like, it doesn't feel like East-West have a 9-card fit.
Sure. Yeah,
sometimes they will, but...
As you say, North does have 4 hearts, so North wasn't all that uncomfortable to
that too. That too, I think, once he knows. So he knows they're going to subside in hearts because East said, partner, I have equal length, and West made a choice. So, yeah, I think at that point, actually, maybe North even knows that that a 7-card fit is somewhat likely. Partner could have a singleton heart, but some of the time he does, he's going to double to reopen anyway.
Right.
Like, 4-1-5-3, South would reopen.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the more I think about it, the more I'm talking myself into disliking 3 diamonds quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many tricks is Declare actually going to end up with here? Because he has another spade and he has another trump, which gets him up to 6. That's...
Well, he's not doubled, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good news, is that he's not doubled.
Yeah. So I think he's also starting to realize that this is no longer, Imps, how do you make the contract? This is Imps, how do you do damage control?
Right. And so West is going to get in at some point. Just kidding.
Yeah. I like this play, because with East out of hearts, if he breaks spades, that's good for us, and if he breaks clubs, it's also good for us. So this is actually, I think, a pretty good strategy here.
Right, that's true. That's very true. So East is going to win this trick. I mean, first off, West has to find a discard, which is a little bit unclear. I mean, West probably can work out that a heart discard is safe, given that Declare has stripped themselves of all of their entries at this point. But heart discard definitely looks a little bit risky from West.
Yeah, if South just had 3 spades, then a spade would be totally fine, and I think he's probably going to end up doing that.
South's hands face up.
Oh, South hand is face up, that's right. I was just thinking about the long diamonds, but of course he showed them, but North bid them. Yeah, so that does make a spade kind of scary, although South doesn't have an entry to the long spade, even if it gets set up, so the spade might still be safe.
Yeah, he
He does pitch
does
a heart.
find the heart pitch, which I think is pretty natural. And once Declare pitches a heart as well, like West is going to be relatively happy with how things have gone.
Yeah, for sure.
So East has a decision to make here. I think East has a full count on the hand. East knows partner's shape. And East probably knows about the spade queen, but maybe not the spade jack. So, like, the king of spades switch could obviously be very costly. Obviously, switching to a low club is going to set up Declare's king, but East might not have a better option.
And if he tries ace in a club, that's going to be horrible for him. North will take 2 club tricks.
Yeah. Whatever East-West do, they're going to beat the contract, but yeah, it does matter about over tricks. So a low club. I don't know why West would play the queen here, but maybe it's known. So club to the queen and king. The other table made 3 and 2 hearts. So you were spot on that 2 hearts was going to make.
3 seems like a lot. I wonder if maybe they were allowed to rough 2 spades or something.
I mean, maybe North just led a spade at trick 1, which blew up the entire suit.
Well, yeah.
Matt says, partner hasn't shown much for the 2 club bid. He has to have the spade queen. Well, yeah, the spade queen for sure, but if West doesn't have the spade jack, then a spade switch loses a trick or costs a trick. So...
yeah, we don't want Declare to be able to... I mean, I guess we could lead a low spade. No, that doesn't work either. Never mind.
It doesn't work as long as Declare guesses it. Because a low spade to the queen and a low spade back, Declare would have a guess.
Yeah, he might put out the jack, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, Queen of Hearts holds, and now we need to find that 10 of spades switch, the surrounding play. Well done by West.
Yeah, and quickly too. Nice play there.
Yep. And so now
I think that's one that's harder to find. Not looking like if North were dummy, like the 10, like looking at the jack is a lot easier to find. Yeah, just finding it a tempo. I think he's going to feel good about finding this.
For sure. And so this is going to do the defense in, or do Declare in, so he's got to lose 2 more tricks from here. So this will be 2 down. As you say, it wasn't doubled.
I wanted him for this, since his teammates had such a big result in 2 hearts.
Yeah.
110 would have been a push.
Relatively calm start. I mean, at least in terms of imp swung, even though the hand was pretty exciting. Okay. East in first seat, 6-5. Looks just like a pass.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a pair that plays 2 spades, 5 spades, and at least 5 of something, at least 5 spades, at least 5 of something else, you're thrilled. And I think, I'm sure Erickson does in some partnerships. That's popular in his part of the world.
Yeah, for sure. That would be a nice agreement to have here. Although, it might get a little bit hairy because some pairs will play that favorable as 5 spades and at least another 4-card suit. And then you're kind of off by 2 disparity-wise on showing the diamonds.
Your minimums, right? Like, you're allowed to have this hand.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I feel like, it comes up rarely enough that I think with his hand, you just do it, even knowing the partner's going to be surprised at, how sound it is in context. Anyway,
makes sense.
Strong club.
3 hearts.
3 hearts by West.
Yeah, preempt as much as you can against the strong club. Usually a good strategy.
Yeah, this is one where if you switch the majors, like, some people might also be tempted to bid 3 hearts. Like, I think that would be a really good spot for a psychic preempt.
Yeah, I think that's sensible. So North's double should be game forcing at this level for the precision partnership.
Yeah, I mean, if only because once you double, there's really no possible way to stop short of game.
Right.
Like, whether or not it's agreed as game forcing, it just is game forcing because any bid above 3 hearts is going to be a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just like if South bids 3 spades, then that's forcing.
Right.
So South bids 3 no, and this looks like with the clubs coming in, you're going to have 9 top tricks after winning the opening heart lead.
Yeah, I mean, at match points, you might even play it all out, like win the first heart because how could West only have 5 and gamble the location of the ace of diamonds?
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. West leads a jack of hearts. This might be some sort of like power lead, possibly asking for counter and unblock.
I think he's asking for the unblock of a 10. I think that's all it is.
And he's going to get it. His partner has the singleton 10.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think in this contract, Declare is just going to cash out, and maybe there's... I was going to say, is it like possible that he sort of is squeezed in some way that you do manage an extra trick, but I guess not.
Yeah, as you say at match points, like you probably do gamble on the diamond ace location, but the tricky thing about playing a strong club is that preempts sometimes just don't look like preempts. Sometimes they look like, a normal overcall with some values, because these preempts are going to be a lot wider ranging. Once the opponents know you have a strong hand, it's more valuable for them to take up the bidding space. So, like, West could easily have king, queen, jack, 6th of hearts, the ace of diamonds, the queen of spades, or something for this 3 heart bid. At some point, you might overcall heart instead, figuring that your side may have a game if you have a hand that strong, but, just the ace of diamonds and a 6 heart suit opposite a past hand partner, I think West is frequently just going to take up the bidding room.
Yeah, some of the time, as you say, when you have the side ace, you make the preempt, and now, either North or South is a little heavy, and they've had their space taken away, and they end up at the 5 level because they needed to explore, and, now they're a level higher than your teammates might be, and you have an ace. That's not so bad.
Yeah. So the other table got to 3-0 and made 11 tricks. 3-0 in the South. I think at Imps it might be worthwhile to risk it once East starts suggesting diamonds. East is probably going to discard an encouraging diamond at some point, and that might be a signal that's worth risking your contracted Imps, because East is overwhelmingly likely to signal honestly in this spot.
Yeah, and I think, so South did duck the first heart, and I think it wasn't like he thought that he was going to be cutting communications and hearts when he said 2 of them. I think it was just for this, maybe West would switch with no entry. That would be really good for him. Maybe he would just start putting East under more pressure. Yeah.
And especially if you were just planning to cash out your 9 tricks anyway, the 6 clubs, assuming they come home, 2 spades and the ace of hearts, it just doesn't hurt to duck the ace of hearts immediately. Alright, 2 rounds of clubs. East shows out. East has pitched a middle diamond spot, trying to muddy the waters a little bit, and a low spade. I mean, another thing that could happen is, especially if West just starts pitching hearts, now you're going to know that West has no entry, so the ace of diamonds is going to be a lot more likely to be marked in East's hand. But West does well to pitch a spade first.
Yeah, and this is a spot where I think good defenders understand this, that even if you don't cash them, keep your winners to make it look scary for Declare not to cash out his own.
Yeah, pretty valuable at Imps, because at Imps, it's very scary to, give up the lead. So West pitches a heart here. But yeah, it's very scary.
At match points, yeah.
Right, at match points, Declare might just gamble that the ace of diamonds is in East's hand, but at Imps, if West has kept, say, all of their hearts and just starts pitching a bunch of spades, then Declare might just be like, well, I just can't risk it, and ends up cashing out and you earn 2 imps for your trouble.
So here, West has made it completely safe to knock out the ace of diamonds, because even if he has it, Declare is still going to manage 9 trick.
Yeah, the same 9 that he would have gotten anyway, so...
No, he had 10 on top, right?
6 clubs, a heart, and 2 spades.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right, I miscounted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he will make the same 5 that was made in the other room, I believe.
Right.
Losing the first heart and the, probably right now, ace of diamonds, yep.
Yeah, king of diamonds around to ace, Declare claims. Well done.
And Al Hollander says the convention cards are available, so that is nice to have as a resource. I see. Yeah, he just has this massive repository of convention cards from any pair that's ever posted one electronically. 347 of them. Of course, some of these are defunct. I'm looking at partnerships that no longer play together.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess you never know. Some of his partnerships reform. All right, so precision spade opening by Sal. I think the standard pairs would open it too, but you're more comfortable in precision where partners' expectations are lower.
Yeah, it does add up to 12. 5-card spade suit.
You know, 4 of a kind, 3 nines. You have a pretty good Chinese poker hand.
Alright, are we making a slam if partner has a stiff heart? That's what North is thinking. Because otherwise, in precision, you can just bid 4 spades with this hand.
Right. I'm a little surprised West didn't try a takeout double here, especially after a non-vulnerable precision opening.
Yeah?
I think, maybe this is... I don't know. The hand isn't great, obviously, but... I feel like you can't let precision pairs steal from you, and this is a spot where they often will.
Right. Now, I think...
And in fact, they are. East-West make a heart game.
Right. Although, North-South will be bidding 4 spades anyway.
Yeah, and, deep finesse makes a heart game, in real life, probably you won't guess the club, and... You still need to find the heart, and you might make it anyway, though, right? You lose a club, a diamond, and a spade.
Yeah. Yeah, the diamond goes away on the 5th club, even if you misguess the clubs. Now, you do have a diamond guess, and it might seem natural to play a diamond to the king, given the opening bid in the South, but...
Yeah, it'll depend on what you find out. Maybe you'll find out the South... If he had, it would be in range for his 1 no trump opening if they do that with a 5-card suit. And I think most precision, early precision, you couldn't open 1 no with a 5-card major, but I think that idea is long since dead.
Yeah, so I'm not actually that familiar with precision systems. I don't know if you are, Craig, either, but I've played them a bit. I don't know, because I can easily construct hands where 6 spades is cold opposite that North hand. And from a standard context, to me, that means I would absolutely never want to bid 4 spades with a hand like this. But North-South, I think, are a bit more aware of the nuances in the precision system, and so North may be judged, especially with West not being able to act over a spade. Obviously, we see here West should have made a takeout double. But with West not being able to act, North decided that it was probably going to be more beneficial to just preempt, freeze East out of the auction, than to investigate a slam when his partner effectively is going to need a good hand with a singleton heart for it to make. King 5th, singleton, king doubleton, ace 5th is a slam. That's a 10 count. It's a good 10 count, and it's perfectly fitting with the North hand, but you're cold for a slam with 18 highs. So it's not as if it's that challenging to construct hands where a slam is going to make on the North-South cards, even despite the limited 1 spade opener. But I think that's probably North's judgment, and this comes from playing, a lot of precision to decide when it's right to preempt 4 spades like this and when it's right to go investigating. Yeah,
well, I think there's another consideration, which is, if it's not enough that the slam is there. It has to be biddable. And, the north hand playing precision, even if it's on, maybe it's not biddable. Like, I guess you could try to no trump as, like, if that's your forcing bid, have partner show a singleton heart hypothetically, and, try to get some more information. But if he thinks that even when it's on, he won't get there, then that makes four spades more attractive.
Yeah, that's another consideration, of course, as well. I think the way to investigate is to just splinter with the north hand, show the stiff club, and then partner will know what to do if they have good controls in the red suits. All right, Declare has played the hand quite well, carefully, to strip all of the outside suits before tackling diamonds, and correctly judges, I think, to play a diamond to the 9 here in the end position. So now West is frozen out. I didn't follow the play that carefully, so who knows what read he got to pick off the diamond suit this way, but he end plays West, gets out for down 1.
I wasn't watching that closely either while we were talking about the auction.
But as you say, it could be a pretty good result for North-South. Maybe they lose a couple, but if East-West get to 4 hearts and they make it at the other table, then that's going to be a really nice result for Team Hans.
I don't think that's possible. I think every North-South is going to find a 4-spade bid. Maybe they get to 5 hearts and, in the other room, because of the vulnerability, if 4 spades is going to be a cheap stack, maybe it's worth bidding 5 hearts if that's ever going to make.
Yeah, and if they pick up the club and the diamond, then they will make 5 hearts.
Yeah, they will make it.
And, North might lead a singleton club at some point. So that picks off the club immediately, and then it's just on a diamond guess.
Yeah, very good point. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I'm East-West there, and I think that 4 spades is, a good spot for the opponent, meaning, probably down 1 as it was here, at least on a double dummy basis, you absolutely want to bid out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have a multi by West. I'm not sure if this is a weaker 2-heart bid, or it must be because they didn't open 2 spades in the other one, so I think they probably do play 2 ranges of weak 2s. We'll take a look.
Yeah, so 2 diamonds, 4 clubs is an asking bid, I guess. 4 clubs feels like an unusual type of asking bid.
I think 4 clubs says transfer me to your major.
Oh, yeah, you're so right. Okay. The head not working today. So 4 clubs asking for transfer to the major so that East can declare. 4 diamonds, 4 hearts. You generally want to do this. I mean, it's the same principle that when you open a no trump, you play transfers like you want the strong hand to declare, because frequently they'll give up a trick on opening lead leading into the strong hand. Here, that doesn't look like as much of a consideration, with East having no tennises to protect. But with the strong hand concealed, the opponents know a lot less about the missing high cards when they're defending.
Yeah, and just, in general, it's the transfer principle, the strong hand declares because it's just better for the, it's also better for the hand that more is known about to be in dummy, right? Like 2 diamonds, I just looked, it showed a bad weak 2. You might as well have it in dummy. That range is narrow enough that it doesn't give the opponents much help to see it, but, it might give the opponents a lot of help to see the East hand. Look at the 4 little diamonds versus the, solidity everywhere else. So kind of an interesting wrinkle. 2 diamonds was either a weak 2 or a game-forcing 4x1. Obviously here, East, virtually certain which one it was going to be. But, maybe we'll see on some future hands that East has to be a little more delicate to protect against the, rare but not impossible strong hand.
Right. I think the idea when you have these two large disparity, or this large disparity between 2 ranges of bid, you always assume that it's the weaker one and make your bid according to that. And then if your partner has a stronger one, it's on them to break the relay or break the question that you're asking to show the stronger hand.
Yeah, so that is 100% true, but, just the hand could come up where, you assume it's the weak hand and sort of act accordingly, but still have to, cater to it possibly not being.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see.
Okay,
But yeah,
declared
as you say,
cashes
like
the heart
the
ace.
weak ones probably outnumber strong ones at like at least 99-1.
Hung dumps
Yeah.
the 10 of hearts. Huh. I mean,
Yeah, that is a good question.
how do you break the relay after four clubs? Well, West would bid something other than four diamonds or four hearts. Like, if West had a game forcing hand that was 4x1, West would do something else. I don't know what that something else is. They
Yeah,
probably have
yeah.
an agreement. But the only bids that West can make with the weak hand are four diamonds or four hearts. So everything else to East is
Right.
going to show the game force. Um,
Yeah, maybe they play four spades and four no trump to show two different ranges of that, or if 5-4-4-0 is in the picture, you could use those two bits to distinguish 4x1 and 5-4-4. Anyway, so
I wonder if the Ten of Hearts is going to give anything away. Obviously, this Ten of Hearts play from Jack 10 third and trumps is honestly a relatively common false card to make. Like you imagine the situation where Declare has like Ace King 9 fifth opposite Queen third. They cash the Queen, you drop the 10 or Jack from Jack 10 third, and then they rough something in the hand with 3, and then they take a finesse of the 9, and you collect the suit. Or you collect a trick in the suit when you otherwise wouldn't have. Here,
yeah,
the way the play has timed out, North playing the 10 and then roughing with the 2, like North wouldn't play the 10 of hearts from King 10 third, right? So
right.
it seems as if Declare is pretty likely to get the hearts right at this point to make from here. So should lead the Queen of Hearts, I think, if he reasons this out, pinning the stiff Jack now.
Yeah, I think at the time he did it, he was hoping that if Declare had Ace Doubleton of Hearts. I was going to say that he would play one and miss guess, but of course then partner would have King Doubleton of Hearts. And
Yeah,
there would be
no,
guess,
and
so it was kind of a pointless false card.
well, you can't see the East hand, right? So obviously North has no idea what's going on. Like maybe there's some rationale that that if Declare happened to have Ace King Doubleton, so Declare does guess the hearts right. I think this is well done.
Yep.
And so he's just going to lose this heart and eventually a diamond trick. Yeah.
He's going to lose this heart. Oh yeah, right. If you gave North the Queen of Spades, you got to take a finesse or squeeze North in spades and diamonds. But
Right.
here, not so much.
Yeah, so he will probably run all of his hearts. There is a show-up squeeze against North because North has all the diamonds, but North will just hold on to the diamonds, South will hold on to the Queen of Spades, and he'll make 10 tricks. There it is.
Yeah, it seems like a nice result, East-West, to get to this 6-1 fit. Certainly their multi-bid made it much easier than it would be for a standard pair.
Yeah, for sure. And especially not getting overboard and then guessing well in the trump suit.
Right.
Okay, well, North gets to open a precision diamond here.
Yeah, so of course, South will not be that excited about the diamonds quite yet, since North really could have either minor. Probably 2 diamonds is the minimum, but possibly even fewer depending on how they play. I'll pull up their convention card and see what's going on.
Yeah, so a diamond pass a heart, and then I would expect a 4 spade bid from West, at least at teams. You're favorable. You don't really know what's going on in the hand. If you just bid 3 spades with a hand like this, or let's say you just overcall 1 spade, for example, and then the opponent's bid up to 4 hearts, like, are you really selling out to that contract? I think the answer is no. So you may as well just bid the game that you're going to end up in immediately, I think. And he does.
Yeah, I mean, 1 spade I think would be fine, but 4 spades is pretty practical. So 1 diamond did guarantee 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably going to pass around to South, who I think is going to have to reopen, whether it's via 4-0 trump or a double, we'll see. But I don't think South can sell out here.
No, certainly not. Not with the stiff spade. So, South reopens double, and now it's back to North. I mean, I guess North is just going to sit this because North doesn't really have anywhere to go. North doesn't have a hard fit.
Yeah, he's got good defense, right? You know, he's not worried about overtricks here with two aces.
Yeah, so four spades doubled. There it is. Good decision for North-South, I think, assuming this goes down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks like it's down 1. Because they weren't really making anything at the 5 level. King of Hearts is offside.
Yeah, so they're going to lose 2 clubs, a heart, and a spade, but they can use clubs as, you know, their one and only entry to the heart to the king, which is going to work.
Right.
And I'm surprised North hasn't put the queen of diamonds on the table already.
Yeah, same. I mean, I guess you could consider leading ace and a trump to kill any possibility of roughs and dummy, but the queen of diamonds makes a lot of sense. I assume Declare is going to just pull trumps and then take 2 club finesses and a heart finesse.
Yeah, it looks like South might be considering going up with the king. Obviously not.
Yeah, South doesn't really have anything that they need to switch to as far as I can tell, so plays low. And yeah, I do expect Declare to just start pulling trumps here. Like, you could lead a club up hoping that the defense really screws up in some way. Like, if North pops with ace-4 of clubs, then you could pick off the club suit that way. But
North could just have both the ace-queen of clubs.
yeah, that's the more likely way. Snoo asks, how much did Hans win by yesterday? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, speaking of, I pulled up the bracket but didn't fill it out. All right, so.
But I think Hans got a third quarter forfeit or concession. So they won by enough to win in 3 segments. All right, 2 rounds of spades. North is in. Gets a diamond count card from their partner, and so now North knows diamonds is not the suit to play, although maybe North will just exit a diamond anyway. Why are scores so hard to come by? Isn't that the question of the day?
Yeah, it really is. I feel like, this is something where the ACBL just doesn't really fully appreciate that, their audience is the players, but the audience really is anyone interested in bridge, and the way to get people interested in bridge is to, as you say, like, make it a horse race. We were talking about this the other day, and the ACBL really doesn't appreciate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they view their mission as catering to the needs of the 2,000 players, if that, who are in Memphis, and not the worldwide audience for bridge.
Right.
Which I think is a very short-sighted view.
And yet they make all of these announcements like, we're trying to grow the game. Please tell us how to grow the game. And then people will tell them, and they're like, we don't like that idea. Any other ideas?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so North knew the diamond was getting roughed from South's count signal, but decided he just didn't want to break either the heart or club suit himself, which makes a lot of sense. He's waiting for more signals from South before making any decisions. I think South might just dump the Diamond King here. It's a card he's known to hold based on the opening lead, so it doesn't give Declare any new information, and it kind of signals for hearts, which is basically what South wants.
My bracket is complete. Despite my personal feelings, I picked Zimmerman to win.
Reasonable.
Yeah, Eric, like it's so even when there are results available, the ACBL's webpage is horrible, difficult to navigate. It's I think part of it is it's an organization that over the years has found itself kind of more and more strapped financially as revenues shrink, and that's part of it. Like building a new website would be probably a multi-million-dollar proposition, at least $1 million proposition, and they just don't have that kind of funds available.
Yeah. Also, congratulations on not being in the U.S. It's a real disaster over here right now.
I am actually leaving for a couple of months, or probably 3-ish months in Europe on Tuesday, and I've been joking about sewing Canadian flag patches to my luggage. I think we're not nearly as welcome in the rest of the world as we were when I planned this trip.
Yeah.
Someone actually was telling me that they just come back from Sicily, and they weren't getting hostility, but they were no longer getting the kind of warm welcome that Americans were on their last visit there, a couple of years ago. Like, it's not just anecdotal. Well, I guess that is just anecdotal, but, it's not just our impression. It really is happening. And when I travel, I don't say I'm from the U.S. I say I'm from New York, and that often gets a different reaction. Like, I think you say America, like they think of Texas,
That's very true. Yeah. So South kind of has a problem here, which it might not look like it, but imagine if West's shape, which I don't know how this would be possible, but like if West's shape actually was 7-3-1-2.
Not possible.
Yeah, I mean North would have led a stiff heart, but
exactly.
But like that has to be what Hans is thinking about, because what he needs to have happen is he needs his partner to win the ace of clubs on the next round of the suit, if that's the case, and Hung might not, might want to duck because Hung might not know if Declare can just overtake the third club and run the club suit if he hops up with the ace. So I think that's the problem that Hans is working through. That's the reason for the delay. I mean, otherwise he would just go ace of hearts heart, I expect, or exit the king of diamonds or something. I don't know exactly what the best plan is. Probably to just exit a diamond in case Declara doesn't have an entry. All right, club goes to the ace. Now we're gonna have to see a heart switch, and he does find it.
Well, we don't have to see a heart switch, right? There's only one pitch.
No, yeah, there was only one discard if he played back a club or a diamond.
Yeah, I mean, like what chess did, like Rob, as a former chess player, talks about this all the time. What chess has done versus what bridge has not done. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, we have 6-6. Yeah, EPL, that was one of the reasons why I started streaming bridge, was because it was very effective for chess. And I figured that I could do that, but no one other than BBO actually has much of an interest in growing the game through an online streaming service.
Million is extreme for a new website. I don't really know, but I was assuming that it also went with programming a more robust backend to feed the results in. And when you start getting into stuff like that, these things can add up pretty quickly if you're kind of redesigning not just the front-facing web page, but the entire architecture that the ACBL runs on.
Yeah, that was the main problem that Nick Hammond ran into when he was tasked with restructuring the ACBL's databases way back in the day, because it's run on COBOL, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Right, and like this is just an archaic programming language that no one uses anymore, and no one even understands because it's just been so... doesn't exist.
I mean, actually, like, COBOL programmers all of a sudden are going to be kind of cheap, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The federal government also runs on COBOL, and a lot of those people suddenly find themselves as freelance consultants.
Okay, what exactly is going on in this auction? Because they're playing a precision style. I am shocked that South didn't jump shift to 3 diamonds. Like in precision, opening a limited major suit and then making a jump shift tends to just show a maximum with 5-5, which to me looks like a good description of the South hand. I mean, 2 diamonds is non-forcing.
Yeah, I mean, I think South was pretty sure that it wouldn't end the auction with his partner responding spades and having a void. Like, I think he thought it was more likely the North was going to bid 2 spades to try to sign off.
Yeah. 26 Dude says, just getting into bridge. Welcome to the community.
Yeah.
But one of the big differences between chess and bridge is that
we're sorry.
we're also sorry. Is that it's easy to play games of chess for free, and deals of bridge against robots are often paywalled. That's true for basically every app. I mean, BBO is relatively free. You can play, bridge based online
against other people for free. Basically, with unlimited. It's just the solo things that are paywalled.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this is a fairly quick 480 with the heart finesse working. But yeah, as you say, South's choices here do look a little strange to us.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying the broadcast G2R2. I know that you're kind of new to the stream, so welcome. Glad that you're appreciating all the content. There's, I think, a big difficulty with bridge content is there's not a lot of youngerish people that are doing this sort of thing. Like, I do it, Kai does it, Gavin used to. I think he's more focused on his family life, and also he plays a lot of big tournaments as well, so he doesn't have as much time. Rob Barrington he has an audience over there. He's a little bit younger. I think he's relatively enthusiastic about the game, so that's great.
He's older than you, young for bridge, but yes. I think he's, certainly well into his 40s.
Yeah, but that's one of the big problems. There's 1,000 chess players that are aged 15 to 25 that are interested in streaming themselves playing chess. So...
Yeah, Rob Barrington is he's a good player, but he's a really great streamer, I think. He just really has the personality to, both be engaging and say a lot of intelligent things about bridge, where there are players who are better analysts but don't have the personality to be able to watch them for a couple hours.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Pete Hollins has been a great content creator as well. We should talk about bridge. Is that what you're saying? Rather than get off topic, focus on the hand in front of us.
So South's precision diamond. Basically planning to show a weak no trump. North had a minimum response. East showed a strong no trump, and no one had anything to say about that. Yeah. So this, obviously East. He has a 17 count. You have to do it. This is not really the hand he wants because he has so little trick-taking potential. You still have to, of course, especially against a precision pair, but I think East is going to be a little nervous and happy to see 2 kings in dummy.
Yeah, so, one thing that I would say is, against the precision pairs when they're vulnerable like this, yeah, you do overcall a no-trump with this hand, but, passing is not that... much worse, because if they end up playing a no trump and they end up going down 3, sure, you'll lose 7 imps or something, but it's not as bad as losing a game swing. It's not the same as when they open a precision diamond favorable and then bid up to 2 hearts or something and they steal your game away from you.
Except when they're down 3, it's 8 imps for 300 if you're rigging 600, and missing a game is 10 imps, so it basically is as bad as missing a game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you can double them, and get 500 or 800, then it's, lose 3 or win 5, and you don't care either direction, really.
Sure.
But I don't know. I think if you're East, like you could talk yourself out of it, but it's weird too. Like you just make the normal action. Look what we saw the other day too, where a precision player had a 2 count just because his not a precision player, someone had 4 by 1 with a stiff club and had to respond. Like here, South had a stiff diamond or North had a stiff diamond, they would have to respond because they could have a 3 card diamond fit if it passes out. So North could have a much worse hand and just be trying to avoid playing a horrible contract.
Sure. Well, in a no trump, Declare seems to be off to a good start. Plays a diamond or a heart over to dummy to take the spade finesse, and spades are going to split. Clubs also split, so I expect Declare will pitch a heart on the 4th round of clubs if South cashes out.
Yeah, so we'll have at least 7 tricks. 3 spades, a diamond, and a heart from here, or possibly if South gets out with a diamond, then he'll be able to play a diamond back.
Right.
Probably South is just going to cash clubs and exit a spade because that looks safe.
That does seem pretty reasonable. It might depend on what North discards on the last club.
I do wonder what he's thinking about, like, just cashing out the clubs and figuring it's probably going to cost Declare more pain to find a discard than partner seems as good as anything.
Yeah, these one no trump contracts are notoriously tricky.
Yeah, for sure.
And they can go very slow. And in fact, the later it goes in the week, the slower that these contracts will get, even though the imp differential between different lines of play or defenses is basically 0.
Well, I mean, if one no is either making her down 1 and it's a normal contract, there's 5 imps in that decision. Missing a white game is 6 imps. Again, these are meaningful imp swings. It's not like, if it's already down 1, then maybe you don't make yourself totally crazy for down 2 because that's 2 imps. But red making versus down 1 is a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely the case that that playing carefully to try and take as many chances as possible to earn imps over the course of the week, as long as you can do it, and this goes back to the well-rested issue, where you get to sit out every once in a while, will add up in the course of a long match. But I think this is one of the silly things from a spectator perspective, because this isn't a match point event. At match points, right, every trick matters, and so these one no trump contracts are notoriously challenging at match points, whereas at imps, we're just looking at this, Declare just has 7 tricks, and this hand is going to take now it's going to take about 2 seconds to finish play, but it could have taken another 10 minutes from there, as South decides, should I cash the 13th club, or is that somehow going to squeeze my partner later in the play?
Yeah, and one thing that takes a while in these hands is fine, you open a 14 to 16 no trump, that leaves a lot of high cards, possibly split between the 2 unseen hands, Declare and your partner, and just trying to work through, well, Declare did this, so maybe that means, yada yada, working out exactly where the high cards are based on somewhat, limited information is what a lot of those pauses can be about also.
For sure. One under trick wonder highlights something that I've always been saying for years. I mean, even back when I played professionally, and so many bridge players just don't understand that you can't think about everything, and you can't just
right,
strain yourself on every hand. I have heard Gavin talk about this. He might have been on my stream at some point and we had a discussion about it, but I know that he's also been a big proponent of just don't waste your mental energy on things that have less significance, because you're going to have more difficult decisions down the road. there's so much pushback in the bridge community because everyone's like, well, this is the problem. I'm here to solve problems. Like, I gotta reason out all of the decision making on this one hand and get the decision right. And realistically, like, you have to balance the times that you actually spend thinking and that you actually spend using mental energy, because no one has an infinite reserve of it.
Yeah, I think there's also just like it's very easy to kind of lose sight of that when you're actually at the table, because we all play bridge because we love solving problems, and you have some interesting problem and you want to, like, it's not just that you want to solve it, it's like you showed up to Memphis because you like thinking about these kind of problems, and here you are getting to do this thing that you love, which made you travel to whatever city you're currently playing in. So it's like it's very easy to be like, oh wait, like this is a dumb spot to use my energy, when that's the whole point of being a bridge player.
Right. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, and Snoo says, Gavin say that he tunes out when he knows something's making, which is so true.
A very common view.
I remember his hand. Okay, Four Spades is boring. I'll tell this story. Like, so when Craig and I were playing,
his hand.
I mean, the bidding is interesting. North had a decision over a club. North decided to bid Four Spades, which I think is pretty reasonable. Cool end of discussion. On to my far more interesting story. So when Craig and I were playing in the team trials against Gavin and Paul Fireman, there was one hand that. So I was declaring 4-no Trump, I think. We had a quantitative auction and stopped in 4-no. And I got an opening lead, and I had 11 tricks. And so I knocked out whatever loser I had. And then I had to decide whether to take a finesse at trick 12 for a 12th trick, or to play for someone to have been squeezed. And so I was carefully playing out the hand and, like, collecting tricks. And I noticed Gavin was just, like, falling asleep on my right. Because, like, Gavin was just sitting at the table, and he was, like, eyes were closed. He was, like, leaned back in his chair. Every once in a while, he would wake up to just, like, play a card and then, like, go back to sleep. And and as this was happening, like, midway through the hand, or, like, 2/3 of the way through, I, like, look over at him, and I'm like, Gavin just really doesn't care about this hand. And I'm, like, here trying to, like, be careful and take as many tricks as I can in an imp event. And so, like, but I came around to this idea that, like, midway through the play, I'm just like, he doesn't care. Why am I wasting so much time on this hand? So eventually I started picking up the pace of play, and I got down to trick 12, and I was like, at match points, I would sit here and think for another 3 minutes, like, all right, I'm going to take the finesse. And Gavin's like, okay, 12 tricks. And, like, we move on. And
lunch money.
Shift, thank you so much for the donation. The lunch money. Yeah, I will have to use that to get myself some lunch later today. Back to the Four Spades hand. I don't know if you remember this hand, Craig. You were dummy. You were probably also falling asleep. You're like, Rob's doing one of those things where he's just, like, slowly building a picture of the hands, and he might squeeze someone, and, like, whatever, I don't care, I'm dummy, I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah, so I do vaguely actually remember, I think I vaguely remember the hand you're talking about, but, so one of the people who've played against me at the table know when I'm dummy, I'll bring a book and read it, or, like, truly pay no attention. And, like, one of the reasons, I think there's a lot of players who, they're dummy and they're watching, like, you're playing professionally with a sponsor who's going to ask you about the line of play. Of course, you have to. But, like, you're playing with an expert. I trust them. They're going to play the cards fine. Like, 1/4 of the hand, I get to do nothing and save my energy. People who try to play out the hand, figure out what partner's doing as declare, I think they're making a huge mistake as far as energy preservation. Yeah, I just sit there and read my stories.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an effective way to kind of tune things out. Well, 2 rounds of clubs. Well, thanks, Shift. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a brutal hand to get me to analyze yesterday. That was rough. Yeah, the internet. I'm a little bit nervous about the internet because March Madness is coming up, and I think we're going to have Sports Bar in the other room that is going to have 5 TVs going.
Where are you at the moment?
I'm still at my friend's place.
Near where you grew up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not really get into college basketball, but I know people go mad for it, one might say.
I mean, a lot of bridge players are actually really into the March Madness tournament because, like, I know Kraniak, for example. I don't know if he still is, but, like, he used to be really into it. I think he used to bet a lot on some of the games. He might still do so.
I think anyone who went to a Div 1 school has a personal rooting interest a lot of years. I did not. I went to a Div 3 school, but you did. So if Virginia's in, presumably, if you don't care, friends you went to school with are going to.
If Virginia's in, yes.
I have no idea. Is Virginia any good at basketball? I have no idea.
So Virginia usually is good. This year they were terrible. But remember, I now have 2 schools, Maryland, and Maryland is good this year.
Powerhouse, yeah. Well, Maryland historically was a major basketball powerhouse.
I actually didn't know that. I mean, I hadn't really followed Maryland for a lot of my time. I had always been a Virginia fan. And Virginia's been really good ever since I was in school there. They picked up, like, a really great coach and, not the same as, like, Coach Krzyzewski from Duke, but Virginia's coach that they got, 15 years ago or whatever has been not quite that good, but on par with the Duke guy. And they always bring, like, a group of relatively untalented players and frequently get seeded as a 1 seed in the March Madness bracket. But this year, it just, like, everything went downhill.
Yeah, so Maryland, maybe this is where there's a bit of a generation gap. Final Four, 01 and 02, won the tournament in 02. So you were in high school, but I was on the trading floor where everyone was betting like crazy. So I was, forced to listen to it. But, they also had Len Bias back in the day, the one who was the, I think maybe number 3 draft pick and died of a cocaine overdose before he ever played a game for the Celtics. So I think, like, when I hear UOD basketball, I think Len Bias.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah, Maryland's been decent the past couple of years. I think this is their best seed that they've had in a while. I think they're a 2 seed this time around, so they have a real shot.
Yeah, I think Little Williams College, where I went, typically is very good at sports, but, Div 3 sports are just, a completely different proposition from Div 1. We did have a player who actually is now in the NBA. I think Nate Robinson.
Ah, yeah.
He played 1 year for Williams before transferring. I think that's who it was. See if I have this right. No, it wasn't him. Something. But we do have someone in the NBA at the moment.
Oh my God.
Duncan Robinson. I had the wrong Robinson.
Okay, let's refocus. Four Spades is over. I mean, there were some interesting points in the play, but, like, East probably thinks they have the most distributional hand at the table, and they don't. So, you're playing precision. What do you do with the north hand? Do you open a spade?
1. Yeah.
He does. Okay. I assume you bid 2 spades with the east hand. It's a little bit scary, red on white.
Yeah, I think the other reason to open 1 is, like, this is one where if partner shows any interest in spades, we can't just take charge and possibly bid a slam.
Right.
The other one, like, maybe it was going to be a little harder to figure out what's going on, but this one, you don't really care about high card points, you just care about black aces, possibly the king of diamonds.
So I think South is going to bid 4 spades.
I completely agree, and West is gonna probably think for a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's, partner makes a red on white Michael's bid. Um, West needs almost nothing for seven hearts to be good.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, while that's true, even five hearts is in some trouble.
Yeah, it certainly is on this layout. Now, how will five hearts actually? Well, okay. First off, five hearts is not going down the auction. Like even if West bid, I mean,
Right.
okay, hold on. I think North is just bidding spades until the auction's over.
Yes, I think that's right. North, having heard this four spade bid, will never sell out. I think for West, maybe just shoot six hearts, and I mean you could double. That's probably kind of the down the middle choice, but maybe just shoot six hearts and figure like partners red white. They have to have a real hand. Yeah, five spades is actually trying for seven, which I think is, you know, probably a reasonable valuation just looking at his cards.
Yeah. So okay, question: does North give his partner a chance at smashing six hearts? Because North could, or six clubs. I mean, I don't know what East is doing. Um, so, or do you just bid six spades now and hope that they misguess what to do at that point?
I think I like six spades. You know, they'll do whatever they do if East bids six hearts, South either doubles or doesn't, and we decide what to do based on that. If it goes pass, forcing pass, seven hearts. Probably we defend and hope the ace of diamonds is a trick, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, wait a second. Hold on. I think you can beat six hearts, but I think South has to lead a spade.
Oh, I see.
Like, I think
Yeah,
double
so of
dummy.
course, with North on lead, it's easy, but with South on lead, it's a little tougher. Yeah, so he does with six spades. Seems fine.
No is the winning spot has been called. One, two, three, four.
Yeah, so East, sometimes you want to pass here since you have first round control, but here East does not want to invite partner to bid seven.
So North
Yeah, he
does
knows
decide
his
to bid
hand
six
is-
spades. I think if North had passed, North might have actually sold out to six hearts because East would have bet six diamonds on the way to show his hand, and then North is going to be like, oh,
Right.
I have misevaluated.
Well, he would be on lead then, so.
Yeah,
That's
that
what corrects
too.
with his
But
hearts, and he'd be on lead.
yeah, but I mean, like, if East had bid six clubs and it went six hearts, I think North would probably, bid six spades at that point, thinking that his diamonds are useful.
So I'm trying to decide if I like this double by East or not. So East doubled despite having first round spade control to stop partner from bidding seven because his hand is obviously a minimum for his Michaels bid, but his partner knew that he could have had minimum and still tried for seven. I don't know. Maybe yeah, maybe not. Like if partner was merely trying for seven and not bidding seven, then we have to stop him from bidding on since we cannot support a seven try. So maybe the double is correct for that reason.
Sure. People are talking about six no. I don't really see a 12th trick. You have four hearts, six clubs, and the ace of spades. What happens on a spade lead? I must be missing something, but there's a lot of discussion in the chat about six no.
Yeah, well, you also need to finesse both hearts and clubs, which is going to be a problem with dummies. Zero entries after a spade lead.
That's true as well. Yeah. So
Right, like you can't use hearts. I guess you could use hearts as entries to finesse the club, but you can't also use them as entries to finesse the heart.
there's so much to discuss on this hand. All right, you were talking about the double of six spades with the spade void.
Yeah, I think I decided I like it, even though, there are going to be hands when you want to be in seven. Like, I think, East, if partner couldn't commit to seven unilaterally opposite the minimum that we're looking at, then we don't want to encourage him.
Yeah, I think that East just doesn't have the diamond ace because I'm looking at East's hand, and that seems like a pretty important card on an auction like this.
Yeah, yeah, like you find, well, except partner could have not the spade ace, and the first round control is really important when he does have the ace of diamonds.
Yes, although I think a lot of the time this 5 spade bid is based on first round spade control.
Maybe. I mean, I was looking at it as a stronger than a 6 bid kind of thing, but it is possible that it also was intended to guarantee first round spade control, and we know it has to be the ace because there's probably not a double void floating around.
Well, so I'm thinking, like, West has a lot of ways to invite slam, right? West could have bid 4 no to ask about our minor. West could have bid 5 no, pick a slam. I think this 5 spade bid very strongly sounds like one of these, like, I have first round control in the suit, is your hand otherwise suitable sort of grand slam tries.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sort of distinguishing your different slam forces by getting a little granular about what exactly you have.
Okay. People are asking how many are they actually making in 6 spades doubled, because on the surface there's only 2 losers. There's the ace of clubs and ace of trumps. But there's an issue in the diamond suit itself. Heart rough, 9 of diamonds roughed. Yeah.
Ooh. Ugh.
I mean, this is fine. It might have come out the same because now West pulls a trump and now Declare can take the roughing hook and diamonds. So this is going to be down 2. I think Declare was losing an extra trick anyway.
Yeah, I guess roughing with a middle one, with the queen or jack, he would have lost it some other way.
Right. The only real way that he could have done anything would have been to... What?
Alexander builders in 7 no trump.
Is he making it?
Reasonably, 4 spades, 4 no, 6 spades by south, kind of preemptively saving, and, you look at the West hand and tell me you don't think you have play for 7 no trump?
I mean, listen, did it get doubled?
Probably not, right? I mean, maybe. I would have thought that if it was doubled, Al would have said so. I'll take a look here if you want to continue on when we get the next board up.
Yeah, there we go. All right, next board is in.
It was not doubled, but it was down 6.
Why was it not double?
I think North was worried maybe that Declare did have 13 tricks when they got the lead, but
yeah.
But in fact, the non-double maybe, first of all, partner's void in your ace, which is a reason not to double. But partner might have looked around for something that wasn't a spade to lead, and a spade was the best lead.
Yeah, that's true. That's that's an awesome result. All right, East opens 2 spades here. And they're playing 2 ranges of weak 2s, so this is the stronger of the weak 2s, showing probably like 8 to 11.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they define it, but it shows a sound weak 2. So Wes is going to probably just plan on key carding, but find out about probably features. I think if you're playing a sound weak 2 style, feature makes a lot of sense. Like, you don't really need August when your range is narrow and good anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Heart Finesse working means they do make 6 on this hand. They get pitches on both the diamond and the ace of clubs.
Yeah, the defensive part trick is just too slow to cash after the ace of diamonds is knocked out.
Okay, East is thinking. I mean, East has one of these hands where I think most pairs would just open a spade, because it's 11, despite the short suit honors and the 4-card heart suit on the side. So as you say, maybe
Back
3 clubs
to-
is a feature.
Yeah. Yeah,
BD
I mean,
says,
BD, I think
yeah, go ahead.
yes, but I think, there's a lot of players who think it's right to open light weak twos, 5-card suits, etc. So, but you also need to be able to do it on, the hands that look like they're straight out of beginner textbooks. So, playing 2 ranges lets you do both without having one, if you're playing like weak twos can be a 5-card suit, but you also have to do it on king, queen, jack, 6, and a king. That range is unplayably wide. So, playing 2 ranges, like, it's true, you could get into trouble. 2 diamonds gives the opponents more room to figure out when they should be penalizing you, but, those hands are rare. The hands where it's nice to have a random preempt available, like, I see why people want to have it in their arsenal. In practice, no one's like tagging you for 802 spades just because you opened a 5-card week 2. They're going to be too worried, especially when they're red and you're white. They're going to be just too worried about getting to their normal contracts.
So auction-wise, I think 4 clubs is probably some sort of key card. 4 diamonds showed 1. 4 hearts is probably asking about the queen. Although, then I'm not sure why 4 spades would have been East bid, but maybe 4 hearts was like last train at that point. They get to 4 spades, which seems fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but East West either here. This is probably where you want to be, right? I think maybe you have a little extra chance because you might rough out the queen of clubs, and you can.
Right? Yeah, I mean, slam is a little bit better than 50-50. Stiff king of hearts lead is now much better than 50-50.
Yeah, I like this lead by South. It'll, depending on how strong, like, obviously we know West is going to have a very good hand, but depending on how good, maybe this holds the lead and we can actually do something.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're trying to beat 4 spades, you need to get 4 tricks somewhere, so partner holding the ace of hearts has to be the best bet.
Yeah, I guess, sometimes partner can even overtake it if he has ace, queen, jack.
Right. Or even ace, queen. Give you a rough. Eric Kerr says that sometimes it highlights the fact that 1 spade versus 4 spades puts the opponents under some pressure and they misguess. I mean, that's often what happens with preempts. One of the things that I'd learned and I tend to kind of propagate is that when you have 12 cards in 2 suits, all sort of, like 11 cards in 2 suits, you can often bid these hands reasonably and sensibly and have some sort of constructive auction. But when you get to 12 or even 13 cards in 2 suits, anything could work. And it's not just that no player has enough experience to be able to know what's right. Like, what's right by flipping, a couple of cards between your partners and the opponent's hands can wildly change based on the choices that you make. So you just kind of pick something and do it and hope that that's the thing that works out best on this hand.
You're just sort of playing for, like big targets and kind of, just catering to the, sort of the normal-ish hands. Like, you just figure out partner's range. You kind of, figure out what's going to mostly be best opposite that range. And, more often than not, you'll be right. And sometimes you'll be wrong and look silly. But what can you do?
Well, 12 to 18 currently.
That's true for a lot of situations in bridge.
Yeah. The only big swing came from 4 hearts that made at this table. We'll have to take a look a little bit later that 4 hearts went down 1 in the other room. That queen 9-8 6 opposite singleton ace. I do wonder if it's a restricted choice consideration, because percentage-wise, king middle honor third of hearts is twice as likely as Jack 10 third exactly. And so the restricted choice idea is that if Declare cashes the ace of hearts and North follows with a small spot, and then North roughs in with either the 10 or Jack, then there's a 50-50 chance they would have selected either honor there. Therefore, that gets discounted by 50%, or a factor of 2 when considering the percentage chances of each, and therefore Declare should get the hearts wrong. I think Hung dumping that 10 of hearts really did cost him here, and we'll take a look to see if that's what happened in the other room. Looking silly is a very important part of bridge. I mean, everyone looks silly. Like, on basically every hand, every player, no matter how good they are, looks real silly. It's hard to do everything right.
Yeah, so this is a little interesting. I think there are East players who, if they had a 3-card invitational bid available, would have made it. It's not perfect, but it is, sort of a reasonable description of the hand. One no. Now all of his bids are pretty wide-ranging, which is kind of annoying when you actually have the top of the range.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the fact that West was able to rebid 2 spades with this hand makes me wonder if East-West have some sort of, home-cooked system.
It might just be Gazelli. 2 spades might just show below a certain range of points.
And clubs, right? Importantly.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I think in Gazelli, isn't 2 clubs 2 ways and possibly including natural clubs?
It does. I mean, this might show 5-5, I guess, is possible.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, East does bid 3 hearts, so this does look like the way to invite. They might play 1 spade, 3 hearts as something else. Actually, is this the pair that played that as mixed? I saw someone doing that in the platinum pairs.
We saw someone do it as a passed hand. I don't know if we've seen anyone do it as an unpassed hand, although some players certainly do have that agreement.
Yeah, good point. Bildo won 5 imps on the 7 no trump preempt. What a beast.
Wow. I mean, that is honestly, you come back and compare your plus 600 against 7 no trump, your teammates say lose 5. I would just withdraw from the match right there.
That's amazing. So the other table won for 800, huh?
I must have.
Right,
I wonder if they went for 800 and 7 no one doubled.
Yeah. Oh, this is so perfect. We have Europeans chiming in because I don't know Gazilli. Some people switched some 2 club and 2 major rebid options.
Yeah, so presumably East-West have some thing like that going on. Alright, so East did bid 3 hearts, and, I guess it worked out fine, but, I think this bid probably could be very wide-ranging, which can cause some awkwardness for East-West.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So club goes around to the queen at trick 1. South elects to underlead the ace-4 of clubs against this auction. I think
very, very relieved that queen has a little companion with it.
Yeah, he will be. I think I actually like his choice of opening leads. It looks very strange, but he's sitting with a stiff heart. West didn't accept, so he knows his partner has heart length, so he's just trying to find a way to tap Declare and give his partner trump control. A more natural, I would say, spade lead, not leading away from one of your aces, could often allow Declare to pitch losers in clubs or diamonds from their own hand.
Yeah, and I think that, more simply, a spade is probably bad because dummy has spades. They might get a club pitch. A heart is bad. As you say, partner's heart length. We don't want to trap that. A diamond from ace-jack 4th is not super attractive, so clubs are what's left. Clubs are, dummy second suit, so leading through strength. And once you choose to lead one, I think low is much better than the ace. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess you make a good point. Assuming West did show spades and clubs with 2 spades, maybe a low diamond is better. But
Yeah, but I think leading a low diamond, like if partner has the king and East has the queen, that's great, but it could probably wait. Leading a low diamond sort of turns the jack into the deuce, which I don't like.
Sure, sure. All right.
Anyway,
Spade switch
now we get
now.
right, and again, I think now he knows probably that. He probably knows the exact spade layout. Declare probably doesn't have the king of spades. He would have unblocked it. He probably does have a singleton spade based on the auction. So I think South 100% knows what's going on in the spade suit.
Okay, Declare pops up with the spade ace. Now, for a strong Declare here, they're going to have a pretty good idea about what's going on when South underleads the ace of clubs. So yeah, they do continue the club king. Like, for a weaker Declare, they might just be like, okay, I'll win the ace of spades and take a diamond finesse. But there's no way that South's underleading the ace of clubs unless they have the ace of diamonds. So East absolutely knows about that card. And now North has some thinking to do. I mean, you have to ruff. So the question is just, do you ruff low or do you ruff with a middle spot? Tends to be right to ruff with middle spots.
Yeah, it's hard to see how roughing low is ever going to gain a trick. Like roughing middle, maybe maybe partner has one of the missing ace jack 10, and now like he can continue to support this attack on Declare's trumps.
Right. Yep. All right. King of clubs gets ruffed. Declare will over ruff, and then also has some work to do on his own. I mean, a low heart to the queen seems pretty natural. But he decides to exit a diamond. Okay.
Yeah, he's obviously pretty disappointed that he wasn't able to cash that third round of clubs before playing a diamond from dummy. With the diamond ace offside, you might as well lead a low one from your hand. It's not like leading toward the king is gonna ever gain, assuming that Declare did make the same read that you suggested about the location of the ace of diamonds.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Like maybe you want to lead low, and possibly the 10 becomes important at some point, but that's a pretty remote possibility.
Hung does just decide to continue the Heart King. So
Yeah, he can see Declare is trying to ruff a diamond, and he's still got a trump trick, so this seems reasonable to me. He'll take 3 diamonds now because Declare is going to be hand locked eventually.
Yeah, exactly. He couldn't afford to lead a low heart. Declare would have run that around to the queen, and then the jack of clubs would have been played. So this seems like a fate that he was going to have to befall himself with eventually anyway. So the jack of hearts, Declare can stick North in with the 9 of hearts, but now either the diamond queen or just simply exiting a heart is going to collect 3 more defensive tricks. Or the king of spades also effective.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't care that you're setting up dummy's queen since there's no access to it.
Right.
And I guess Declare could actually exit the king of diamonds here.
Oh, yeah.
And he will take one more trick.
Oh, yeah. So North made an error there in exiting the king of spades. This is something that I think is atypical for players that at this level of play, where sometimes they'll make a bit of and Declare misguesses the position at the end. Sometimes they'll make an error earlier in the play, but they tend not to make mistakes this late in a hand. But this was basically a double dummy problem for North, and he ends up getting it wrong. The hard exit is much safer and really didn't cost anything. Playing the queen of diamonds through would have worked out fine here because South happened to hold the 8, but the hard exit always would have worked out regardless of what South's diamond spots were, I think. Either way, 3 hearts down 2. I mean,
yeah,
Pretty good result for North-South.
Non-vulnerable. It's a 50 imp under trick, not a big deal.
We have Bob Hammond Cheese Sandwich once again, kibitzing.
I am dying to know who that is. That is such a great handle.
They were there yesterday. Okay, this time North gets to decide what to do with a 6th grade major. Yeah, we were just talking about extra under tricks. Hung was just like, well, we've already beaten the contract. Let's not mess around.
Yeah, I think even playing precision, I would open 2 hearts. Yeah, and he does. Normal takeout double, south, probably 3 hearts is plenty. Your hand is not very attractive for 4 heart raise here.
Yeah, it's pretty likely that you're off at least 4 cashers with the south hand. I mean, if partner has ace king 6 of hearts and out, you're just off 2 spades, the ace of diamonds, ace of clubs, so 3 hearts does feel like enough. Passes back around to East, so does East take another call here? You have no heart losers.
Yeah, I think you have to double again.
Sometimes North has the club king. Thanks for stopping by, Shift. Enjoy your lurk.
Cool, we'll see you later. You're non-vulnerable. Obviously, the cost of needing to bid is lower since it's a white game and not a red one, but this does look a little conservative to me.
Well, South...
And obviously, you're lucky to hit 5 spades in your partner's hand, but... you're decent defense against 3 hearts with 3 aces, but I feel like you're not that confident of going plus against 3 hearts, and you still do have some hopes of finding a makeable contract even a game.
Okay, the 9 of diamonds gets led. Now, this is an atypical lead. So what do you do as declarer here? Do you stick in the 10?
Probably right, because if it was a lead from this kind of combination, then 2 pitches is helpful, and if you go up with the king, you guarantee 1 pitch, but 1 pitch is kind of meaningless.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then the focus is going to shift over to West, because if West switches to spades, the contract's going to make. If West switches to clubs, East will set up 2 club tricks before declarer can access the diamonds.
I'm a little bit surprised that East didn't catch the ace of hearts at trick 1.
That would have allowed him to take a look at dummy. Yeah.
Right, probably it's, I guess we could construct a layout where declarer was going to lead a heart to the king, and we were going to win the singleton ace, and partner would have a trump trick, but most of the time that's probably not happening on this bidding when the opponents are red-white, and... figuring, both getting it out of the hand, since it's not like we're so excited to be on lead later, and getting a look at dummy seem like they're both pretty valuable.
Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable. Well, West mispicks the position, so if declare had stuck in that diamond 10...
I think you mean?
Well,
West mispicked the position, but so did North.
Yeah, North didn't try the 10 of diamonds, and... Yeah, now West gets out the club queen. This... East really needed to unblock the ace of hearts now.
Yes.
Yeah, now declarer can make this, right? We win the king of clubs, we unblock the spade king, and we just lead a heart, and East is end played.
Yeah, I think leading it at trick 1 it would be my choice, as I said, but, it's a choice. This is just a straight-up error, I think. He can see that he doesn't want to be on lead.
Yeah, I really don't get this play. I really don't get
Bob
this
Hammond Cheese Sandwich, thank you. I certainly appreciate that. Um,
Okay, it's someone from the chat. We'll never know who.
yeah,
Um,
I think that was specifically a reference to me loving his handle, but
yeah.
nonetheless I appreciate it.
um, huh. I don't. So, okay, first off, let's talk about the Queen of Clubs play, because I'm sure a lot of people are just like, why would you switch the Queen of Clubs into the King? And it picks off this exact club holding, because if East were to lead a low club, Declare could run it around to the Jack. If East cashes the Ace, then they couldn't play a second round. So this would have been very effective if... what just happened?
Yeah, not totally sure. Yeah, it's also interesting. So, like, sometimes you lead that queen and like lead the dead, and hope that Declare can duck it twice, and then you catch the ace, and take three club tricks. But here, even if partner has the jack, Declare won't be fooled, right? We led the nine of diamonds. We would never have done that if we held queen jack ten of clubs. So this is just a straight up technical play. But there are positions where you're leading that queen as a deceptive play.
Whew. Alright, East needs to exit the 8 of diamonds, West will ruff the 10, and Declare will have to lose 2 more clubs.
Yeah, so he is down one after all, but I feel like both North and East are gonna, want some do-overs on this hand.
Yeah, and you can't really blame West for the spade switch. I mean, partner made a takeout double,
Right.
So...
Rider Club is it's pretty hard to find looking at that dummy into the king.
It's definitely doable, but yeah, as you say, I think it's a little bit challenging.
Partner could just have the ace queen of spades instead of the ace 10.
Right. But yeah, North has made a little bit of an error in the play, and it's going to cost him here after East gave them a chance. And as you say, unblocking the Ace of Hearts at trick 1 is a fine attempt. I think a diamond is what a lot of players would choose. But yeah, once you get in with that Ace of Spades, you really need to get that Ace of Hearts out of your hand. You can see the impending end play coming. I mean, maybe part of it is that West switched to the 9 of Spades and East wasn't convinced about the spade count. But even if you weren't convinced about the spade count, Declare could have just cashed spades and ruffed a spade and then thrown you in on the heart. Dummy has 3 trumps,
Yeah.
so even if Declare had 3 spades in hand and had to ruff the third round, you would still get end played on the first round of hearts. Wow. Well, missed opportunity for Team Huns.
Yeah, so 3 more boards, and I'm trying to think of how they're doing on time. So they started half an hour before, right? But we're only an hour and 40 minutes in. Right, from our point of view, the set started at 11 a.m. your time, so they're actually not in time trouble at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. The other table is done, though. Or...
Wow.
Oh, wait. No, we're the table that's ahead.
No.
We're 2
Correct.
boards ahead of the other room. So they might be under a little bit of time pressure. But relatively close match. I mean, really, the big score was that 12 imps and 4 hearts. I kind of want to take a look at it while we're waiting, but
We're not waiting anymore.
we're not waiting anymore. Good. So North will pass in first seat. East has a 13 count, gets to open a club. Should see a heart overcall. Maybe if you're playing intermediate jumps, you could overcall 2 hearts with the south hand.
Yeah, I don't, so I don't know exactly what the quality requirements are. Obviously the hand is within range, but that suit might be a little sketchy for it. I don't know. It's not a method that I've ever really played.
I do like
One heart
intermediate
seems
jumps
normal.
when vulnerable, but we'll see what South does. A heart is
Yeah,
normal.
it's certainly a popular method. Part of it also is I think we all have partners where we want that agreement just so that they can't make ridiculous preempts vulnerable.
Exactly.
I don't have that problem myself. So
Yeah, like my belief in general is just that like vulnerable preempts, whether you're playing imps or match points or whatever, like have to have some meat to it. So just beefing that up from, like a minimum of an 8 count to a minimum of like an 11 count is quite reasonable.
yeah, I generally for myself maintain fairly classical styles, requirements for preempts, so it's less important for me to save me from myself because I'm not that aggressive in that position anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So North-South have found a heart fit. East-West have found a spade fit, with West 1 spade showing 5.
So East, somewhat surprisingly, is not playing support doubles.
Yeah, it could just be in this specific auction, given that the 1 spade bid promised 5, that 2 spades could be anything. But it is pretty popular even in these types of situations because, as you say, the law of total tricks is often a pretty good guideline in some of these competitive decisions, and West really wants to know if their partner has 3 or 4 spades.
It's also, a very, very important distinction for game bidding, right? Knowing if partner's going to have 4-card support versus playing in an 8-card bid when your suit is 10, 9, 8, 5th is really important.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, East-West do get to only the 3 level. Jack of Spades is on side. The fact that North led a low heart at trick 1, I think, is going to protect Declare a little bit, because now it's possible for a heart return. Declare can just pitch a diamond, and then plan on pitching another diamond on the heart queen to protect their own trump holding. I don't know if they will, but that is a possibility. Snoo says they might play 2-no as a 4-card raise here in this auction.
It's possible, but I think that would be, somewhat abnormal. But obviously, we are seeing that East-West play some, some of their own stuff that they probably developed on their own. So it's, it is possible they have some way besides the support double to distinguish that 3 versus 4.
Okay, well, South switches to diamonds rather than playing back a heart. So Declare got the opportunity to guess the diamonds and guessed correctly. Now he can ruff a diamond and dummy and effectively just give up 3 spade tricks at this point. Play for the suit to split. Diamond ruff, queen of spades, just in case there's a singleton jack. And there was never any danger of a club ruff, but in this case, even if the clubs were 3-1, Declare would still be okay.
So South will try to tap Declare, and Declare will exit a spade, and will not be in any further danger.
Right. Yeah, huge difference between spades 3-2 and 4-1 here, because
right.
Now if South was able to pull 2 more rounds of trumps and then force Declare again in hearts, then Declare might really have gone down quite a few. But not this time. All right, plus 140. Good result for East-West. How was 3 hearts doing, by the way? Because if Declare picks off the heart suit, they would have lost a heart, no spade losers. Declare's diamonds were, well, the north-south diamonds were rather poorly positioned for their side, and they have 2 clubs to lose. The 3 hearts might have come home. But I think a lot of it revolves around picking off the restricted choice position in the heart suit.
Yeah, this only gets you up to 8, but I guess if you can manage to strip But you can't really ship the spades out, right? Because you don't have the entries to dummy to do it. You need that one guaranteed entry for the heart finesse.
Yeah, and
I mean, I guess you could, I guess you could try running the Jack of Diamonds based on the strength of your strong spots. That doesn't seem crazy.
right, you could
And
do
that
it
would
that
work.
way. I mean, you basically, if you can pick off the hearts, you just need to play the diamonds for one trick with,
Right.
as you say, Jack 9 third opposite King 8 7 fifth. Um, Lots of ways to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, the most obvious one is the only one that fails, leading a diamond to the king.
Right. Yeah. But, counterpoint, you don't actually have an entry to both take the heart finesse and lead a diamond to the jack at that point, so I think you might be right that Declare's better plan is to run the jack of diamonds and then run the 9 of diamonds if that loses.
Yeah, I think the only possibility is if you don't know enough about the clubs to be able to place the ace of diamonds with East.
Right. Yep. Yep. On to board 14. East has a big hand here. What is this?
Yeah.
24?
24. 24 with four aces.
Yeah, all the aces. So I guess you open two clubs. West might bid two hearts if that's one of these positive responses showing two of the top three honors.
I don't know. I think even if that is what it meant for me, I'd probably bid two diamonds. I feel like this is a hand where I'm much happier, kind of, hoping that I can get into a transfer auction. Like, I would want, he does bid two hearts. I don't know. I personally, think I'd want like a sixth heart or a better outside card than two jacks or something, because even if it's sort of within my range, two club auctions are bad enough, and positive responses that aren't really positive responses tend to make them worse.
Yeah, I completely understand that feeling. But East-West find the heart fit. I mean, the fact that East already knows their partner has King Queen fifth or King Queen sixth or something in the heart suit is going to make East very happy. So East is looking at, essentially, what is this, 10 top tricks at the very least? 5 hearts, 2 spades, 2 clubs,
Yeah.
and a diamond. And if partner has anything else, then Slam is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, here he doesn't, but it's saved by the 25% diamond position.
How confident are you that Declare is picking up the diamonds?
Oh, not at all, right? I think a diamond to the 7 is pretty attractive, but one can make a slam where there are layouts where one cannot make a slam.
Right. Okay, well, they get to 6 hearts, and the first question is going to be, what does North lead? I think the 10 of clubs is going to be the choice.
Yeah. Yeah, king of diamonds is possible, and obviously that'll just solve the problem immediately.
Right. Yeah.
And sort of knowing that the ace is virtually guaranteed to be on your left does make that king safer.
It definitely makes it a little bit safer, for sure. Well,
He's probably also both going to take his time here because this could be an important one, as well as probably asking some questions about the auction, especially that 3-no bid. I think 3-no is probably just I don't know. I was going to say non-serious, but 4 hearts would be even less serious.
That's true. As you say, once you've already made this positive response of 2 hearts, 3-no trump as a non-serious try might be overstretching. What do you have more than a minimum? You have 2 doubletons. Ooh, North gets off to the King of Diamonds lead.
And again, if that's what it is, it's possible that 3-no is, something, is not non-serious. I don't know. All we see is that there's an alert, but there's no explanation available.
Yeah, so King of Diamonds lead is going to solve all of Declare's problems. Just pull one round of trumps, and then
Go king of diamonds and the upside down count 9 from south, solidifying the diamond spots.
That's true too. Yeah, so Yakbub asks, can we eliminate the hand and run the 10 of diamonds? So we can't eliminate the hand and run the 10 of diamonds because North always covers. We can eliminate the hand and play a diamond to the jack, though, and with the hearts too. You could ruff all the clubs and eventually lead a low diamond to the jack in an end position. And if South was able to win a diamond honor, South would be forced to return a diamond at that point, and then you would have a guess whether to play South for King Queen or Honor 9, and you should get that guess right, because it's 2-1 favorite that South has Honor 9 instead of King Queen in that position.
Eric's saying that 2 hearts sort of saves room on most hands because you do get to get your suit out a level lower, which is good. And actually, maybe one other reason to do it is if you wait and transfer, partner will assume you don't have King Queen 5th because you didn't make a positive. So maybe that actually is the argument for the positive, that there's a negative inference from choosing not to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And these negative inferences are hard to spot, but you highlight the big issue, because if West does slow things down, bid 2 diamonds, like let's say East bids 2 spades and now we bid 3 hearts to show a hand with hearts, our partner's going to think our hearts just aren't this good, and then that'll cause East to misevaluate and miscount how many tricks they have available on certain hands. So I think you just have to do it when you have the hand. I understand your reservation that like this hand is just bad, but yeah, I think you just have to do it.
Yeah, I think I've talked myself into that also. I think, it turns out maybe the real point is just 2 club auctions are hard, and that's just kind of the price of playing standard.
Yeah, that's certainly a fact. Precision players are rejoicing about that hand. They'll just have a 10-bid relay auction to the right spot.
Yeah, there's a reason why so many top expert pairs play a version of Precision. It's really good. Like, it's more work, but it's really good.
Yeah. Well, board 15, last board of the segment. South passes. East-West have a spade fit here. They'll probably just settle into 4 spades after a couple rounds of bidding. So spade, 2 clubs to get things started.
Yeah, and the alert here is probably that he only needs 2 clubs to make this bid.
Yeah, just effectively an artificial game force for a lot of pairs. 2 diamonds waiting is a pretty popular treatment after these artificial 2 clubs, just to see if partner has 3-card spade support. You keep the auction a little bit lower. East does have 3-card spade support. Look at that.
So 2 diamonds might have also sent a minimum message, since East did what looks like a fast arrival jump instead of bidding 2 spades. It would leave room for investigation.
Yeah, I don't hate the 4-spade bid with East's hand. I mean, it takes up an awful lot of room, and generally I think you want to slow these auctions down, especially in a standard context when West could have substantial extras for this bid. But here, Queen Jack Doubleton, all of these jacks, your 5-card suit is pretty poor. Like, your hand really isn't slam suitable, so partner's really going to need to have a lot of stuff and a lot of controls for you to make a slam. I probably still wouldn't have done it with East hand, but I think that might be the rationale for just jumping to 4 spades. Like, this hand is basically the bottom of the range for the game force with a spade fit.
Right, I was saying that I think if West 2 diamonds was not just waiting, but waiting and showing a minimum, then East action becomes much more attractive.
Yeah, for sure.
If West is still unlimited, then I think East action is very dangerous.
Yep.
So we don't know, but let's assume that East did have the information he needed to give up on slam.
So hard opening lead, Declare just decides to stick in the jack immediately. That at least simplifies things. And I think this is probably a good play. Oftentimes you want to postpone a guess for later. It's definitely possible that North's hearts were like 10-8, 7-6, 5 fifth, and you could guess to drop the Queen Doubleton offside. Yeah. But that.
Well, I was going to say, though, there's another consideration, which is you'd love to win this jack and take a diamond finesse and to start rubbing diamonds. That's exactly what he did.
Right, yeah. You want to be in dummy to take this diamond hook. And if you, for example, win the ace of hearts and then start pulling trumps, like you might lose out on diamond ruffs. If you don't start pulling trumps, then the opponents could get in and play another heart through, and then you might suffer a heart ruff. I mean, it looks like they will suffer a heart ruff here, but that's okay. Declare can afford to lose a heart ruff, a spade, and the king of diamonds and still make 10 tricks. Hung, in fact, is in, and
probably plays another heart, like maybe partner's even roughing it.
Right.
I guess maybe that's unlikely because Declare might have rebid a 4-card heart suit rather than 2 diamonds, depending on their agreements, and possibly he's asking about that. He may be trying to clarify exactly what's known about the concealed hand.
Yeah, now I will highlight an agreement that I liked, and I know that we've had this discussion before, you and I, but if it looks like, maybe it wasn't with you, maybe I played this with Leo. Anyway, if it looks like partner's going to win a trick, oftentimes I like giving suit preference. So I don't think that's a common agreement to have, but in this case, it looks like partner's going to win a diamond trick. That 2 of diamonds could have been a suit preference signal, like really asking for clubs, which it looks like South kind of wants.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we had that explicit agreement, but you and I played suit preference all over the place.
Yeah, these like subtle inferences and like small, like nuanced decisions about which spot card to play in certain positions is one thing that really separates, I think, a lot of high-level expert partnerships from, the more advanced or intermediate players. And
100%.
Yeah, so I mean, one thing that Hung's thinking is like, let's say partner does have a doubleton heart and we play back a heart, Declare wins, starts pulling trumps, we get in with the ace of spades and give partner a heart ruff. That's still only 3 tricks. He needs to get another trick somewhere, and he hasn't found that yet. Partner's club suit preference could, be a reason for that, that they might score an extra trick there eventually, but that might have been something he was concerned about, is like, okay, I can play back the Queen of Hearts, and sometimes I give partner a heart ruff, but we haven't beaten the contract, and therefore maybe it's better for me to switch to something else. But yeah, so Hans plays back a diamond. Now Declare can just play a spade to the king, ruff a diamond with a jack of spades, ace of clubs, club ruff, pull the last trump, and...
Well, this is the last trump.
Yeah, they split.
Yeah, and Hans was just, hoping against hope that North had a doubleton club, because then his Declare's losing club would have nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly. But Declare was too clever for that. Playing at match points, this would have been a much more interesting hand, because then Declare probably would have needed to win the second heart and take a pitch on the 3rd round of diamonds to get rid of that heart, so that a ruff couldn't occur, and then basically play the hand as a cross ruff. Looks like he could take 11 tricks that way, but not necessary to imps. So that's the last board at this table. Let's head over to the other room. You know what, actually, before I do that, I'm going to check in on the scores of other matches. Leibowitz is way ahead of Vendanta currently, and...
it turned out we watched both the tightest and the lowest scoring match.
Zimmerman and Rombo is tied.
Match. Yeah, it was 32-17 when I left a couple of minutes ago. They must have had a big swing or 2 medium swings.
Okay, but I'm over at the Wibley and Edgton table against Cope and Pask. North-South got to 3 hearts on this hand, so this was the one that I was saying North-South may well make 3 hearts if they take the restricted choice play. Declare is at that exact moment, and then he's still going to have to work on the diamond suit. West led the Jack of Hearts at trick 1. that makes things so much more difficult, because you might lead the jack from queen jack doubleton. In fact, you would always lead the jack from queen jack doubleton of trumps. Like, no one leads a singleton queen of trumps. So when you lead the queen, it's going to mark the position in the suit.
Yeah, of course. Everyone leads the jack from queen jack doubleton. We all know this, which means sometimes you do lead the queen from queen jack doubleton.
I guess. But yeah, this makes it a lot more challenging.
So Michael Golden texted me a little while ago. For those who play CBL Nationals, he's an expert player who I used to work for in my options trading days, and he says, I think this is funny enough that I'm going to read it. I got a text from Bobby Levin. Bobby thought I was on Avery's team for the beatdown Joe and Brad took. I don't know whether he actually has their number or, Bobby just wanted to stick it in a little more after Joe and Brad had their first round loss.
I still am flabbergasted at what happened in that match, because coming in ahead by 52 with the sponsor now sitting out and 4 world-class players sitting at the table, I just it's unimaginable that you lose that lead in 30 boards.
So I basically agree, but I think one thing to keep in mind is we were talking about this some yesterday that, the McAllister, Jack and Avery team, etc., it's not a great team, but everyone on the team has some game. They can definitely hold their own against most opponents. And if you're sort of holding your own, and a modest underdog to a really great team like the Brad and Joe team, but play a high variance game, some of the time your mistakes won't cost you that much and the variance will gain you a lot. And if you were a modest underdog over the course of the day, and you pick up 30 imps in variance and only give back a handful in mistakes because things are breaking your way, all of a sudden you've just beaten a really great team.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it happened. And so
right.
that was a massive win for those guys. I mean, it feels so much better because they were able to beat the 4 pros. If they came into the second half and they were ahead by 50 and then they won the match, it would still be great. That's a massive win, but then it would be okay, we understand that we really stumped the sponsor of the other team and then just held on for dear life at the end. But here they were able to make a huge comeback against a team that was massively favored against them. So they're going to have to continue doing so because they have even stronger teams to face up against, maybe not necessarily today, but tomorrow and in the future if they do continue winning. But that's a great result.
Teams like that never win 2 matches in a row because they're going to play a great team today. I don't want to say never, but they're going to play a great team today. That high from beating a great team can often lead to a crash on the next day. And just, they won probably because of variance on day 1, but variance with negative edge eventually catches up to you, and usually sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's very difficult to pull off those kinds of results back to back if, as you say, you're taking high variance positions. Okay, well, defending 3 hearts, Whibley comes out of the tank and eventually switches to a low club. Looks like they cashed a couple of clubs. Declare has claimed, I don't know if Vugraph Operator lost the play, but Declare still had a diamond problem. Maybe the defense solved it for him by switching to diamonds here. But the defense does score 2 more diamond tricks, beats 3 hearts a trick, and Plackett picks up 1, which means the match is once again tied. So 2 boards to play left in this segment. Short compare, and we'll be back. You think we should stick with this match? I think that's a good idea. We'll watch the Whibley table.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, this is a huge board.
Pretty good bridge from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge because getting to 6 hearts probably will happen, but isn't guaranteed. And then, even once they do, there's no guarantee that Declare makes it. There's a couple of lines of play which will work, and there is a line of play which will not work, and they're all pretty reasonable. So we do see the 2 club opener here. Edgerton bids 2 diamonds, waiting. 2 hearts by East. Looks like they're playing some sort of kokish. Maybe East is deciding to either upgrade his hand, or this range is 24 to 25 or 24 to 26 or something. 3 diamonds transfer. East has a decision to make over this transfer bid. My general feeling over 2 no-trump actions is that if partner transfers, you almost have to have 5 to super accept, but this hand is a little bit special because you have all the aces and great controls. So he does super accept with 4 clubs. Two turtles duking it out. I think the Kiwis are gonna be really upset that you called them turtles. It has been a slow start to the match, I think.
Yeah, so West has survived this decision not to give a positive response, since East was able to take control over the 3 diamond transfer. I think West is retransferring, but I was going to say probably West is not going to be done now, but he doesn't really have anything to do. I mean, I guess he could raise 4 hearts to 5 just to, like, try to send the message, partner, I have good trumps and like my hand but can't cubed.
Yeah, I'm not sure the implications of the 4 diamond bid. I mean, West could have just bid 4 hearts to sign off, right?
Because, I think right, but you want to, because I was going to say 4 diamonds could have been a retransfer, but of course the declaration has already been placed in East.
Right, yeah, that's what I was looking at too. So East redouble shows first round diamond control. The double by North has now made the play irrelevant.
Yep. I think between that, South is going to lead a diamond, and North would probably get the diamonds right based on the double. But most relevantly, South is just going to lead one, and that'll be the end of the hand. If we have 4 diamonds redoubled, let's go. How is this going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at least. Pretty easily. And yeah, it's actually 4 diamonds redoubled is cold. You can ruff 2 clubs in the West hand. Since South doesn't have an honor, you get to ruff 1 low, 1 with the 10, and spades, cash, hearts are 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, technically you can pull trumps, but that might not be everyone's choice. Either way, it's really hard to play these redoubled contracts, because even if they make, sometimes it's just less than the value of your slam, and you really don't want to be wrong.
Oh, I think it's completely inconceivable, but it was going to be the winning action here. Meanwhile, it looks like West is just key carded, so this is going to work out fine for him.
I mean, again, unclear. I assume this is key card. We'll see if West bids 5 clubs now, because that could also be a key card response. 4 spades just being like a transfer to 4-no. Everyone gets really excited about these redoubles, right? Alright, 4 no trump, 5 diamonds, maybe some sort of last train.
Yeah, and 5 diamonds is a cubed, so who knows what's going on. Is it possible that West is responding to key card? I guess well, maybe.
See,
he has 1. If you lay 0-3-1-4, that's the bid.
Yeah, it's tricky, these key card auctions. You never know who's bidding Blackwood. I think East might work this out. Yeah, okay, so East bids 5 spades. Now West is just going to be like, great, we're not going to 7, 6 hearts. But this, I think, highlights the value of that two-heart positive. I don't know if East-West have the same agreements. Some people don't play that, or they use two hearts for a different type of bid. But I think West, over 4 clubs, was just like, okay, I don't have any extra controls, but I have good trumps, and there's no way I can tell partner about the king, queen of hearts. So they bid 4 diamonds last train. They bid 4 spades rather than signing off in 4 hearts. They bid 5 diamonds. They've made a bunch of theoretical Q bids without controls in those suits just because they have good trumps and realize that slam is on the cusp of making. Alexander Wu says, I would guess 5 diamonds is the king ask. I mean, most pairs... It could be, yeah. I'm not convinced that East-West are on the same page on this auction about what is the king ask and what is not, but they might be. Like, normally when you bid key card and get a response and you have all the key cards, then the king asked happens to be 5 of whatever key card was. Yeah, so if 4 spades is kickback, 5 spades would be the king ask. If you were off a key card, then you would just sign off at the 6 level or sign off at the 5 level, right? So you could ask for the trump queen, which would be whatever the next step is. So 5 clubs would have been the trump queen ask, and East would have responded showing kings if they had the queen of trumps. So I understand that there could be a rational reason for using 5 diamonds as the king ask here, because it allows you to still stop in 5 hearts if East doesn't have anything. But I'm not sure that anyone has an agreement about this specific auction, would be my thinking. I could be wrong, though. It's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, whatever it was, obviously good enough.
Yeah, so they get to 6 hearts, they push the board, and that will be a decent result for them there. So the match remains even at 20 imps a side. A spade, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds. Similar start to the auction. This time East decided to bid 2 hearts, 2 spades, 4 spades. I think at this point East really knows that their partner has kind of a minimum opener, so the fast arrival bid makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it looks like that was a more natural sequence. I mean, 2 hearts. Maybe showed a 3-card spade suit. Like, it doesn't make any sense, really, as a 4th suit, besides the early game 4, it's like kind of as a 4th suit temporizing bid. It doesn't make a ton of sense unless it sends a specific meaning.
Yeah, I don't know the agreement for 2 hearts, but that's possible, that it shows a spade fit.
Yeah,
North
it doesn't seem to make a ton of sense otherwise.
Yeah, so North gets off to the 10 of clubs lead. I mean, Declare has options at trick 1. You could take the club finesse. Even if it loses, you get to pitch a heart on the ace of clubs. You could just go up with the club ace and take a diamond hook. Pretty reasonable. Those are the options. I've gone through all of them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Going up with the ace and taking a diamond finesse seems kind of natural, doesn't it?
Yeah. Alright, and he does decide to go up with the ace of clubs, so we'll see a diamond hook. North will win. Continue clubs. So Declare gets to ruff, pull around to trumps, I imagine. Maybe plays the hand as a cross ruff from here. I mean, again, you can pitch a heart on the third round of diamonds if you want and reject the heart hook. But
Yeah,
pulling
it'll
around
depend
trumps
someone
makes
would.
sense.
It'll depend on what North does. Like if North had played a heart there, that might that might simplify things too.
Yeah, so club comes back, declare ruffs, and now I guess we'll see how he decides to finish out the play. He does unblock the diamond queen first. This was something that would have to happen eventually anyway, so I think it makes sense. Pulling around a trump seems to like simplify things a little bit.
I was gonna say, I think he will play around a trumps now. The defense can't. He only needs one ruff, and the defense can't. I guess actually, maybe that's not so clear because if they win and return a trump, your hope might have been to pitch a heart on the ace of diamonds and ruff both red cards, and you might not be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean it's just for over tricks at this point, right? So
right.
If you play a trump and they play one back, you're not going to go down, but you possibly lose out on an overtrick when the Queen of Hearts is offside. Here, he gets to do this, but now he has to decide, is he roughing this heart high or low? You can't really afford to rough low, because then it could go over rough ace of spades spade, and then you go down. Oh, the 9 of diamonds is actually set up.
Right.
So,
right, because the 10 dropped under the ace, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you don't go down, but Queen of Spades.
Ooh. What? He obviously roughed me. That was an operator error.
Yeah, something went wrong in the
no
play
way he
record.
roughed low and South forgot to overruff.
Yeah, it does look like 4 spades making 4 is what happens when South overruffs there and returns a trump, so I think that's what happened. So push forward.
Oh, that's possible too, yeah.
And now, through 15, the match is tied. Let's take a look, because I am curious what happened on the big swing from earlier in the match. Whoops, wrong table. At this table where 4 hearts went down. So we got a 2-heart preempt by Edgton, 4 hearts by East. This allowed North to get off to a diamond lead. Queen of diamonds goes around to the king and ace. Declare cashes the heart ace, and now starts pitching diamonds on the ace, king, queen of clubs. But under the heart ace, North understandably did not play a heart honor. So king of clubs, queen of clubs pitch a diamond. North roughs in with either the jack or 10. He chooses the jack here. It's just a restricted choice scenario. You could pick either. And then continues the jack of diamonds. South pitches a club, plays another diamond. I just realized the defense could legitimately beat this.
What board are you looking at, Rob?
Board 4.
Thank you.
If South roughs the king of hearts and then plays the 10 of clubs through, that promotes the 10 of hearts. And I think South should have actually gotten this defense right. North roughed with the jack of hearts on the previous round. This is a pretty big mistake from South, I think. Wow, that's actually really fascinating. So maybe the jack of hearts is clearly the correct card to rough with from jack 10 third here. Because North would have roughed with a lower heart spot if they didn't have the jack and 10. The 6-card heart suit is known from the preempt. I mean, maybe Edgton could have 5. But when North roughs with the jack of hearts and it goes jack of diamonds, South pitches a club, but then the 10 of diamonds, South should know about the 10 of hearts, knows partner is void in clubs, knows that they can rough king and promote a trump trick. Here, Declare had the option to guess the heart suit. They could have led the queen of hearts, which is what happened in the other room, the table we were watching. But Declare took the restricted choice scenario of exiting a low heart, figuring that North... I mean, for a couple of reasons. One, first, if this was the heart layout, South has made a defensive error. And at these high-level competitions, you don't really want to trust the opponents, but sometimes that allows you to pick off where certain missing cards are, is that if the opponents had different hands, they would have defended better and actually beaten you legitimately. So West is basically playing for north-south to not have made a defensive error here. But additionally, the Jack 10 third is twice as likely as King, or half as likely as King Jack third or King 10 third. So we got 8 minutes until the next round starts.
Cool. So then possibly take a look on bridge winners and see if there are results coming in from the matches that are not being broadcast. I'm going to pull up the scoreboard here. We, in fact, have first round scores for every match. So I can go through those quickly. We have Nickel leading Rippy by 15. Zimmerman tied against Rombo. They are in view graph. Fleischer is down 12 to Ash. Rosenthal down 22 to Dyson. I'm just going through these in seed order. Leibowitz is up 3 against Vedanta. Shorey slaughtered Mellons in the first set, 48-2. Bramley is leading Street by 6. The Silverstein Destroyers have the highest scoring match of the day. 101 total imps scored for a 1-imp lead to Hella.
I mean, not surprising when, as you say, they play a really high variance form of bridge. That means you're going to win a lot of 13s and lose a lot of 13s, and you just need to be on the end that wins more than you lose.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get that typo fixed. They're the Silverstein Destroyers, not the Silversetten Destroyers. Dinkin is beating Lal by 9. Hans Placket are tied. We saw that, of course. Goodman up by 7 against Roman. So that match, we thought that they might be somewhat, I think we thought that Goodman was a mild favorite, but not a heavy one. And the score so far is bearing that out. Wolfson over Kane by 14. Baker is killing Overdeck. They're ahead by 37. Bailey is beating Hanlon by 16. Simpson over Ward Platt by 24. We had thought the Ward Platt team was pretty strong as far as their front four, but you had mentioned the sponsor might be a little less experienced than Doug Simpson, who's played a ton of high-level bridge and is a very strong player, so maybe we're seeing that effect. And Goldberg, which I know is one of your picks to make a decent run, is indeed bearing that out with a 31-imp lead over Niederbach.
Yeah.
Leibowitz is ahead by 3. If I said they were ahead by a lot, I misspoke.
I mean, considering what's happening to some of the top seeds, Leibowitz ahead by 3 does feel like they're ahead by a lot. With Rosenthal and Fleischer having a pretty weak first segment.
I think we've seen that when Larry Leibowitz started playing at this level, he hadn't, his inexperience showed, but at this point he's been playing in these top events for quite a few years now. So, may just be kind of a little more comfortable playing in this environment.
Yeah, so the other big result or big swing from this match was that board 12, where Edgton and Whibley at the table we weren't watching. Edgton opens 2 spades, alerted very weak on that 5-card suit, 9-8 5th. We've seen him do that quite often. They get to 4 spades, and was there really no way to beat this? There's a diamond, a spade, and a club to lose. Yeah, spades splitting, so 4 spades is just cold here. Club led to the king, declare took the hook, diamond to the ace, and 2 rounds of spades, and with spades breaking, there's really no problem for declare on this hand. This was the one in the other room where East-West had that tenuous defense to 3 hearts. They could have beaten it legitimately after declare misguessed the diamonds at trick 1. And even a spade back wasn't too much to cost, but then East really needed to cash the ace of hearts to get it out of hand. So what could have happened after the queen of clubs to the king? Declare gets a lot of information when a trick like this happens. The queen gets led, you have the king and jack in your hands, and you play the king and it holds. You know the person is leading from ace queen 10. So Declare really could have, if they wanted, kind of followed a similar line of play to what they what they did. Queen of diamonds, pitch a spade, but I mean, a very simple plan would have been to play a spade to the king and then just lead a heart. And East gets thrown in. A spade lead gives a rough slough. Declare could rough and dummy, pitch a club, pitch another club on the diamond queen. Obviously, leading away from the club ace would be risky, and playing back a diamond would allow Declare to stick in the 10. They pitch a club, but now they don't try the queen of diamonds because West will rough. They have to pull 2 trumps first, but then another club goes away. So this could have happened, and Declare may well have made his contract, but with Whibley and Edgerton getting to 4 spades in the other room, obviously there were not a lot of imps being swung on whether 3 hearts made or went down.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to step away for just a moment here while we're waiting for the next set to come up. I'll be back.
Let's take a look at some of the other matches, because I know that we had the Zimmerman... Oh my god! This was the board of the first set. This really was. So, North opened 4 spades. We saw this at a couple of tables. We saw actually this exact auction at a couple of tables. 4 spades, 4 no, takeout, 2 places to play. 5 spades, 7 no, by Klukowski. Double by North. And so South on lead. South gets off to the Queen of Spades lead. I don't know this North-South partnership. I'm not that familiar with them. I think these are 2 French players because they're playing on the Rombos team. But, man, I mean, as Craig had mentioned, maybe North was worried about doubling in some auctions because South might not lead a spade at that point. But the Queen of Spades lead. This is a spot where I think as South you think for a long time before making your opening lead. You really want to construct the opponent's hands. Like, what's going on? What 2 suits does East have? I mean, diamonds and what? Is it diamonds and hearts? Is it diamonds and clubs? And then what is West's hand for 7 no trump? Like, how is West so confident? West has to have a source of tricks somewhere. Is that the other minor? Is that a diamond suit and East actually has clubs? I think regardless of what you believe is South, you're pretty happy about that jack of clubs. So Queen of Spades to the ace, Ace of Hearts, North shows out, Ace of Clubs, King of Clubs, bad news, North shows out on that as well. And now Declare just has to cash out and try and avoid as big a penalty as possible, but Declare took the first 7 tricks and 7 no trump, which is the level of the contract, but not quite enough to make. Yeah, the other room, they get to 6 spades doubled down 2, North-South. Once again, North just decided to take the cheap insurance and 6 spades over 6 hearts. This is a big board around the room. I'm curious what the results are on board 9 at every table. So there's a 7 no undoubled down 6. There's 7 no doubled down 6. 7 hearts doubled down 3.
You know, I knew the results would be all over the place. I did not think that 7 no would be such a popular contract.
So a spade, 2 spades, 4 spades. We saw this start to the auction at a lot of tables. Migri, I assume Migri's playing with a sponsor. She often does.
Yeah, Parag Saxena is, I believe I believe he was a venture capital guy, and I think he may now be a retired venture capital guy, but I'm not sure. I think, I know he sits on some boards, but I don't know if he has full-time work anymore. He may be past that stage of his life.
Gotcha.
And from what I understand, a very likable guy. I think Migri and like Chris and Franco and some of these people have all gotten to know him socially fairly well, and they speak very highly of him.
Mm-hmm. Well, so 6 hearts by Migri makes a lot of sense in that context. Don't want to mess around with a sponsor, like trying to have this delicate auction where you cubed spades and then like you dance on eggshells, like bidding 6 clubs later to hope that partner picks a red suit or something. So anyway, Negri just bid 6 hearts, which is practical. 6 spades by North. 7 hearts is definitely not great by East. You could pass, right? You could pass to show first round spade control, and I think that's kind of the practical choice, right? Like, partner bids 6 hearts, maybe partner's sitting on a small singleton spade over there and is like, yep, I have everything else covered, but I'm worried that you just have a singleton spade as well and we're losing the first trick. So making a forcing pass makes a lot of sense from East, but 7 hearts all on your own with no offense for your 2 spade overcall, vulnerable against Not, is a bit of a stretch, and South went ahead and doubled that. It went down 3.
I think South doubled Lightner, right? He wasn't trying to double it to beat it a million. He was just doubling to make sure he got his ruff.
Right, yeah, and so North was able to give South a diamond ruff, a spade came through, and now Declare, I think, has a little bit too much work to do. I mean, they could, I guess...
We have tables up.
We have tables, okay. Let's go take a look. So we have... Same match, right? But other table?
I mean, we'll watch the Wibbly Edgerton table, so possibly the other table, possibly not, depending on how people use their seating rights. It is the other table, table 6. So they are playing back. I guess, yeah, like, you're tied, so might as well play back. I know there are people who are superstitious and say when you lose imps that you should switch who you play against, but neither team lost imps.
Okay, well, Wibbly picks up about 20 high card points more than he's used to. So he opens 2 clubs.
He had the 24 count last time around.
He did, but they have a system that's well designed to handle the 0 to 3 range, and
so they'll coaxish their way to East showing his no trump range, and I think West is just going to raise that. Maybe if he has puppet available, he would use it, but he probably doesn't, and he might not anyway.
Yeah, so 24 count from East, West bids 3 no, and how's Declare doing? Well, the spade opening lead is going to work out pretty well for Declare. You have 3 hearts, you now have 3 spades, and you've got a diamond and 2 clubs, 3 clubs with the king on side.
Well, the king on side sort of doesn't. Well, I guess you do have 2 entries to dummy now with the. You can lead toward the jack of spades and you have the king of hearts.
Yeah, the spade lead away from a king into the really strong hand. Only a 4-card spade suit. Might not be everyone's choice from South.
Gotta lead something. You know,
do.
Maybe a heart is a little more of the mainstream choice, but I think a spade is okay.
Yeah. It would certainly be nice if partner turns up with queen jack, 3rd of spades or something.
Yeah, and partner's allowed to have the ace of spades, right? He does have 4 points. Even queen 10 third with the jack and dummy as it is.
So, Declare, I mean, the simple line of play is to just lead a spade to the jack right now. It is possible that South's spade lead is from 3 small, but then a spade to the jack is still fine. I mean, you set up a trick.
Well, you might just lead a heart to the king and take the first club finesse, right? Like, probably it's going to win whoever has the king, but if it loses, maybe that's actually good for you. South possibly can't lead another spade profitably. You would have 2 spades and 3 hearts is 5, and 2 clubs is... I guess we don't have an 8th trick, let alone a 9th yet.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad to expose that you have clubs. If we're losing a spade, there's got to be at least as good a chance that either North or South switches to clubs as diamonds, but playing a heart to the king to take a club hook, the opponents are always switching to diamonds here.
Yeah, I guess it basically just turns your entire hand face up at that point, because not only are the clubs known, the hearts will be also.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
so I think
if the club hook like winning, for example, just gave us a ninth trick, then sure, I'm totally with you. But yeah,
right.
it's a bit of a delicate hand, and I understand why Wibbly's thinking because as I've made the comment, like not everyone's going to lead away from a bear king against an auction like this into a strong hand, so he might be thinking of playing a spade and ducking if South follows low.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. North could have had King 10 Doubleton of spades. I mean, South maybe would have led a higher spade if that was going on.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that would give him 8-7-6-4, and the 6 would be a very weird lead from that holding.
yeah. I do agree with that. All right, he does play a heart to the king. So I guess he is playing a heart to the king, a club to the queen. Um, kind of as mentioned, this does turn the hand face up on the table. With the fall of the ten of clubs, he can actually set up quite a few club tricks. Club to the queen, then he might just go ace of clubs club. Maybe that's his plan. And that's not too unreasonable with that 9/3 and dummy.
Right, it picks up any 3-3 or any King Doubleton or any 10 Doubleton.
Yep, yep. And this saves him from having to guess the spade suit as well. So
Right.
it's not so bad. Not so bad.
Yeah, playing on spades, the spades could be 3-3 also.
Right.
Um, so that, would be another way to come up with, an 8th/9th trick, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I think that's the big bonus is that if we need to knock out both a spade and a club to make this, then we really want to play on spades first so that North gets in and switches to clubs. But if all we need to do is knock out a club, then playing on clubs first makes sense. This seems a little bit backwards to me. Heart to the king exposes the heart strength, and club to the queen exposes the club strength, and now we play a spade to the jack. But I guess it's fine at this point with everything on side.
Yeah, of course, this could go badly if South switches to diamonds. We unblock the jack of spades, take a club finesse, and South now catches the bunch, wins the game, and catches the bunch
Yeah.
of diamonds.
Yeah, that would be pretty disappointing. But it looks like Declare is going to do okay. So eventually he's going to come to 3 spades, 3 hearts, a diamond, and 3 clubs for the same 10 tricks that were made in the other room. South is counting high card points now. The club to the queen, I think, exposes North for a big club card, so South probably knows that Declare has the king, queen of diamonds.
Yeah, I think South 100%. Declare is playing, as you say, given that it turns its hand face up, I think South knows that club finesse was real.
Right. Yeah, like why else would you play a heart to the king if you have ace, king, queen of clubs, and then play a club back and then lead a spade up? Like, East took a
Right.
club finesse, so partner has either the ace or king of clubs. We don't know which, but that leaves no room in North's hand for, say, king third of diamonds. I mean, I don't know what you do with that information. It's you can't beat it anymore. But I think South does know what's going on the hand.
Yeah, I wonder is there any possibility that Declare has a stiff king of diamonds? I mean, with that, he actually might have used that hard entry to lead a diamond to the king.
Sure.
Or maybe the ace
Yeah.
of diamonds, like hoping against hope that Declare actually is, maybe Declare is slightly light and we can actually catch 4 diamond tricks. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if Declare has the jack of hearts instead of North, then it's possible North has the queen of diamonds.
Yeah, I do think if Declare had a singleton king of diamonds, he would have tried that bluff because, because he can't risk the defense, getting an idea of what's really happening with that hand.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of it goes back to, like, why would Declare play heart to the king? Like, if Declare's entire plan was to lead a spade up to the jack at some point, and they had this hand with, like, stiff king of diamonds, they would have just returned a spade at trick 2. So, before giving away all this information in the hardened club suit. I don't think there's any possible way that Declare has a flimsy diamond holding, or flimsy enough where switching to diamonds is going to be effective as South. But... you know, I mean, it's imps. If there's a way to beat it, you gotta play for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a point in the hand when it was possible, but it's no longer possible.
Yeah.
I think eventually he'll probably decide that this probably isn't beatable, and, you know, even once you've made that conclusion, then, like... you know, as you say, you don't want to make yourself crazy thinking about under tricks and, you know, over tricks or whatever and holding it, but, you know, you don't want to concede over tricks either. He'll give a little bit of thought to what to do to at least, you know, stop Declare from taking, you know, 11 or 12 tricks.
Right. Well,
I guess 12 isn't possible because we have an ace, but, you know, you're going to want to spend a little bit of thought saving those imps, especially in a tied match.
Yeah, so I think ultimately the conclusion is to just play back a spade, force Declare to use their one entry immediately, and then
right,
move on.
I don't know. I kind of like this ace of diamonds in a diamond play.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it stops Declare from taking the club finesse and cashing out for 9 tricks when he has them.
Yep.
Like, you know, here it actually might.
It certainly might. I think there's almost a 0% chance that North has ducked the club king, but it's possible.
South, you mean?
South, yeah.
I mean, that's probably true, but clearing the diamond is at least going to give East something to think about.
Right. It does cost the overtrick when East is 4-3-3.
Yes. Or if East has King Doubleton of diamonds and North does have the Queen of diamonds, but it's... yeah, but it gives Declare a check. But again, like in that layout, maybe you do decline the club finesses Declare. I don't know.
There's the spade
just
back.
makes passively.
Yeah, so now Declare just takes a club finesse and then asks about the club split, and he'll get the news that he has 10 tricks. Alright, King of Diamonds. Claim. So, we still remain tied at 20, one board into this set. You should see the claim any minute. Zaffer asks, which site is broadcasting this? So today we are on RealBridge. This is the last day that we're going to be on RealBridge. So starting tomorrow, I will be on BBO Vugraph and my channels here and on Twitch and YouTube to stream coverage.
Rob, are you planning to do it directly on BBO?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll email Diana, but I think I will be available for some of it. I think my plan is mornings the next 2 days, your first 2 sets. Not evenings, and then Friday evening for the semifinal, and all day Saturday for the final. I would love to join you if you don't have other plans.
Yeah.
I'll send an email out and sort it out, but hopefully I'll see you for at least some of that.
Sure. Yeah. I guess I was under the impression you weren't going to be around at all, but email Diana.
I thought that was the case, and then I thought some more about my schedule and realized that I probably can make myself available.
Yeah. I do apologize for my YouTube chat, just in general, that no one is answering questions. I did tell you, Zaffer, you're behind. All right.
I have the Twitch chat up, so I'm responding to those, but I don't have the YouTube chat up.
Well, I mean, there's only 60 people, and no one's paying attention to the stream, so
Wow, we got yet another 6-6 hand by, in the East here, so...
I know. There have just been
two
so
hearts,
many of them.
Curious what two hearts is.
So spade, two clubs, two hearts is a bid.
Possible it's some kind of spade raise, and he's just, kind of stuck and doing this. Like, maybe it shows diamonds? That would be weird. I don't know. I would love to know if there's an explanation of two hearts. We don't have one yet, possibly. If there's some questions, we'll have the operator catch up and fill in the explanation. So East, whatever happened, East was planning to hit four hearts at his next turn.
Yeah, so four clubs, four hearts, five clubs by South. The heart void is somewhat appealing, even though Queen Jack third of spades is rather defensive.
And notice the way it's timed out. South doesn't know that East has a freak hand, right? Because East four hearts was not a jump; it was a same level bid.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising as well. I mean, I'm not sure why East didn't really consider making a more aggressive call. But again, as you say, we have no idea what two hearts is. Snoo thinks maybe two diamonds or two hearts showed diamonds, which you said is also possible.
Yeah, hard to know.
So West doubles five clubs with what looks like a trump trick, which seems pretty reasonable to me, and now East has this decision. Am I pulling or am I sitting? I think you should probably pull, but again, this is one of these we have 12 cards and two suits thing.
I don't think he's thinking about whether to pull. I think he's thinking about whether to jump to a slam. West double, of course, he has no defense, so what can he do but try to slow things down?
Well, but yeah, I mean, East can't really jump to a slam. Otherwise, that means the four heart bid is ill-conceived. So yeah, East had to be thinking about passing the double or bidding five hearts. And
maybe, keep in mind, East may have just thought that four hearts wouldn't end the auction, or sometimes players just make mistakes. But yeah, no, he does pass. Your read was correct.
This is at least consistent, right? If East had bid six hearts here, West has showed nothing. West has showed negative extra offense the further the auction has gone. So East six hearts wouldn't make any sense, theoretically. But he does decide to sit, which I think is a reasonable decision. Now, should West have doubled? I don't know. That's a bit unclear. He has no aces, but he does have a heart fit. And the King of Spades is a good offensive card as well. So I think that's tough. But yeah, these 6-6 hands or 7-5 or whatever, 8-4, 9-3. It just, you pick something and you go with it. And this time East picked to trust partner's penalty double. And it turns out to be the wrong decision.
He was going to make five, but not six. I guess he actually could have made six hearts, because you can just rough a spade high.
Yeah, you're just absolutely cold for six hearts. So a heart lead goes to the ace, declare roughs, declares going to get the trumps right, given the double by West, and presumably given the long tank by East. Even though the board was on the other side of the table, it was there for a while, and partner was not thinking about bidding over five clubs doubled. So South knows that East was the one thinking in the other room.
Other side of the screen, but yeah.
Yeah. So diamond offside, declares just going to lose a diamond and two spades for one down. And this will be a big swing, going the way of Team Plackett. Because at the other table, they didn't find the heart slam, but they did get to declare the hand in 5 hearts. Snoo says they were taught that if you're 6-6, you're declarer. Yeah, that's a good belief, I think.
Yeah, I'm mostly inclined to agree, especially on a hand like East that knows how much playing power it has. But again, it's hard to evaluate East action without knowing what he knows about the deal, and that 2-heart bid is so obscure we can't really tell.
Right. So Declare does get the clubs right. I mean, it's anti-percentage if we just think about a priori odds for a 2-0 versus 1-1 distribution in the suit, but given the auction, I think it's clearly indicated. So now
yeah, and especially I think East long tank and pass out, so he suggested a club void, I think.
Right, yeah. Even more so than just the double of 5 clubs. So there's a lot of indications to get the club right. Declare thought for a lot longer than I was expecting after leading the Queen of Clubs and Westfall with low, but here they are. So Diamond Hook, maybe not the Diamond Hook, given that we think West showed diamonds in the auction with the 2-heart bid.
Well, whether or not he did, we know that East showed a lot of cards in the majors.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as many as he actually has.
The play really should wrap up soon because there's nothing Declare can really do. I understand thinking for a while if you're in like a 5-level contract doubled and you're within a trick of making it, but this is one where there's really no hope. All right, Declare roughs a heart. At this pace, it's going to be a long session, I know.
Yeah, this is I'd love to say something intelligent about this hand from here, but there really just isn't anything.
It seems like South is a very slow player. Like, Wibbly and Edgton are relatively quick. I mean, they can be slow at times, but they're not below average for pace of play, and I think Simon Cope has generally played relatively quickly when we've watched him, but I'm not as familiar with Thomas Pask, and it seems like there are a lot of decisions where he'll play a card and then think, play a card and then think. South is known for being slow, thanks. Yeah, that is what I'm collecting from watching a couple of deals so far.
Yeah, one good, like we always saw the last set, this table was 3 boards behind, but it does mean that we'll have instant gratification as far as M scores, which is nice.
Right.
I agree. Like, I don't mind players taking their time in positions where they need to think. It's, it is a little aggravating when it's like a Feldman style, take 20 minutes at every trick regardless of whether there's anything going on.
All right, Declare tries the diamond finesse. It was unsuccessful. So 9 imps going the way of Placket. Big pickup. Ivan also might be very far behind. Is the entirety of YouTube very far behind? I wonder if I can get YouTube chat to talk if I type to them. What board number are... Maybe I should ask what trick number. What board and trick number are you guys watching? That'll tell me how delayed they are. This is why bridge will never be a great spectator sport. I think we can adjust conditions of contest and force fast play. It would be great if there was a chess game on the side. Do you want me to go on chess.com and play some Blitz while we're doing commentary on the hands? I think both the Blitz and commentary would... Okay, great.
3 spades. Yeah, we did see in maybe it was Buenos Aires that East-West are hyper-aggressive preemptors, especially non-vulnerable, and we're certainly seeing it here.
Yeah, so 3 spades on the 6-card suit. Pass, around to north, balances with the double.
Yeah, I might have tried 3 no trump. He obviously wants to keep the hearts available, but that hand, maybe 3 no is gonna be okay even when you do have a heart fid. Like here, South did well to bid 3 no and his jack third.
Did they? Because this might not make. Actually, I don't think there's any chance this does make.
Well, maybe there isn't, but if you're going to just look at the north-south hands and pick a contract you want to play, and it's got to be this one. I mean, unless you're checking out 3 spades doubled, but,
Yeah, that's probably a bit much. Okay, so...
Right.
West gets off to a high heart lead. It's not the greatest start to the defense, but it probably doesn't cost too much. I do wonder if... Now, West will just switch to spades and declare he's not going to have enough info to run the 10 of diamonds, I don't think.
Yeah, I think West is definitely going to play a spade at trick 2. And probably the natural thing to do is win the spade, start clubs, hope they split, and when they don't, you'll play diamonds the wrong way because you're in the south hand, and actually, at that point, you probably will know which way you want to play the diamonds, right? Because you'll know that East has 2 clubs, and however many hearts he has, it's not that many.
Yeah, but then you can't make it, right? Like, if you hook East for the jack of diamonds, right. You get 3 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, maybe the queen of hearts, yeah. That's 8.
Right.
The only way to realistically make this, I think, is to run the 10 of diamonds at trick 3. So West will switch to spades here, and then 10 of diamonds.
Yeah, which seems kind of abnormal, because if you can run 5 clubs, then probably you, I guess you still have some work to do. Like, you can lead a heart up, but they can lead another spade, and, now you don't have a 9th trick set up yet before the opponent's spades are ready to go.
The more that I stare at it, maybe running the 10 of diamonds is not such a crazy decision. I mean, why did West lead the king of hearts at trick 1? They have to have at least 5 hearts, often 6. Like, I don't think ace, king, jack, 4th of hearts would lead a high heart at trick 1, would they? After 3 spades pass, double, pass 3 no?
Probably not, but, maybe, like, especially if East could often have 4 hearts for this kind of preempt, in their freewheeling style. Yeah, sure, running 5 clubs does sound challenging, but this is a challenging contract. You need something to go right to make it. That's a thing that can go right fairly easily. Jack of clubs dropping Doubleton 2, and you don't need them 3-3. So once you're looking for good things to happen, that's a fairly straightforward, simple good thing to happen.
Whoa! Nabil, calm down, buddy! Queen of... Oh, he had to play the queen.
Well, he obviously had to unblock them.
Wait, did he?
Well, he didn't have to unblock them. Thomas Paskey, what a... Oh, no. I was going to say, what a player, but...
Wow. There have been some pretty confusing plays on this board already.
Indeed.
So... Man... I don't really become a little bit more likely to be in East's hand. Because, like, let's say I have been kicked out. Have I also dropped stream? Craig is gone. Oh boy. Uh-oh. We have problems. PJ says, see me fine. That's great. That's good news. Can I watch the play? I can. 10 of diamonds to the queen, but Discord has died. That feels like a problem. Let me disconnect from Discord and reconnect. YouTube is fine? Awesome. That's perfect. Is Twitch fine? I haven't heard anything from Twitch chat in a while. Hopefully Twitch is fine. Let me try and reconnect on Discord. We'll get Craig back in a second. Apologies for the interruption. I can't imagine that Declare is thinking after diamond to the queen. He would just play diamond to the queen, diamond to the 9, right? So I feel like I must have lost Real Bridge. Hello.
Hello again. So I think you might be muted on what's it called on Twitch, but I'm not sure. But yeah, like you were like, I could hear you. You're like, Greg, are you there? I was like, well, yeah, I'm here. Anyway, Declare has just played a second diamond. You know, I think probably not with a ton of hope, but he was a little stuck at that point.
Yeah, so 2 rounds of diamonds. East gets in, returns a club, so this has really killed communication between the hands. I guess Declare should lead a heart up now.
Yeah, I guess if he does that, he's giving up on ever taking the King of Clubs, but not a ton of great options here. I guess there's no reason not to catch the King of Clubs, right?
Terry, assuming YouTube is still live, it looks like YouTube is fine. I keep getting kicked out of the table. The other table got to play 3 no trump, doubled on the North cards, and they made it. PJF said it looked like 3-0 was making, and now not so sure. When did it look like 3-0 was making?
It's possible. I think for that brief moment when you won the 10 of diamonds and hadn't decided what to do.
Oh, hey Craig, I'm back. Now I can hear you again. This is perfect.
Oh, excellent. I had actually never lost you, but obviously yeah, Discord had other ideas.
My internet is doing the thing again.
Got it.
Well, West finally does exit to dummy a spade. So we knock out the diamond ace. East exits to dummy once again, and Declare can run a few tricks, but has to lose a heart to the jack ultimately at the end of play. So 13 imps going to Hans for this one.
Yeah, I want to take a quick look at the play record in the other room, because there certainly was a lot of work to do. Sorry if you already did this. It was slightly distracted. Oh, I see. Yeah, but Declare just got the diamond right, and at that point he was in awfully good shape. He was in good shape. He wasn't done yet.
Oh, Declare cashed the King of Diamonds. Or tried playing the King of Diamonds before guessing the suit.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you know what? I was going to say he cashed the clubs and then played West to lead a heart into the Queen 10, but actually he cashed the 1 club and then led a hearts to and play West to lead a club to his Ace King 10. So, nicely done by Sartaj Hans.
Wow, nice result there. So, hopefully we'll get to take a look at that line of play at the end.
Yeah,
South opens
it was a very nice piece of Declare play.
17 count by South. 2-no puppet. Three clubs, three spades, by North showing 4 hearts. So South's major suit distribution is not known in this auction. That's one of the major reasons to play puppet here. Oh no, did I lose Craig again?
No. I was
Okay.
just catching up on what's going on here. So, I guess 3 clubs probably denied a 5-card major, but may have been neutral on 4s, or possibly guaranteed a 4-card major. I don't know. I was wondering, like, maybe 2-no could also be 2-way, like either puppet or some kind of minor suit sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I normally just play 3 clubs puppet. I think 2-no puppet is, definitely like accumulating a following, but hasn't quite become that common in the US, so I don't really know what the nuances of it are. Anyway, 3-no is fine, right? Both spades are on side, so that's going to help. If the diamonds split, then this would be trivially easy, but since they don't, you still got plenty of chances, especially once they didn't attack clubs. Yeah, I think Declare probably suspects diamond. Actually, Declare knows diamonds aren't breaking, right? Because if the 10 was Rousseau, it had to have been from 4, and there's no way he was leading the 10 from shortness, I don't think.
Right. So, but yeah, as you have mentioned, so diamonds don't split, but Declare does have 4 diamonds, 2 hearts, the spade hook is working, and the ace of clubs is 9, so should be a relatively straightforward make here.
Yeah, he's just going to clear the diamonds and eventually bank on the spade finesse to the queen. If diamonds had been 5-1, he was going to need both finesses, and that was going to work too.
Right.
Yeah, club lead looks a little more natural to me and would have given Declare probably a more nervous moment. Like, everything would still be fine since club split and the spade is on, but, he would have been a much more risk of going down. I think here... maybe it's all the same, because if the spade loses, it's not like he's in such great shape looking for 9th trick, but he will have the time, if the spade loses to the king, to take a spade finesse at the 10 later. If he really gets desperate and on a club lead, he would not have that option.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. So, another diamond.
The option to clear the diamonds and take spade finesses if any of them lost. Anyway...
West gets in, and so West has to decide what to switch to. East having pitched a heart and a spade. Again, it's not so much about the signal of whether these heart and spade discards are encouraging or discouraging. It's just the fact that East has elected not to pitch clubs makes it a little bit more likely that West should switch to clubs at this point. I mean, West might switch to hearts, for example, instead of clubs, but...
Maybe this is the hand where, you never ship to clubs to your partner, and, hope your partner doesn't see a hand record so he doesn't actually know what you've done. Nah, I'm kidding. Jack's on 9/4 of diamond seems fine, but I think if you gave it to a panel of experts, you would get some votes for diamond, but I think you get a majority vote for a club. Maybe not, Queen Jack 5-4 is not a great lead, but... beating the hand of the diamond. You're leading a diamond because it's safe, not because you think you can beat the hand of diamonds.
Right. I think I'd lead a diamond, but I understand the arguments for a club.
A club leads to a more straightforward beat. A diamond gives up less, but I think needs more overall to go plus. I don't know. At match points, I really like the diamond lead, because there you do care a lot about safety.
Alright, Declare ducks a couple rounds of clubs, and now plays the 8 of clubs back from Wibbly. West plays the queen, kind of a false card So heart to the ace, spade to the queen. In case it lost, there would still be a chance if West didn't have the last club to cash.
Actually, maybe there wouldn't. Well, sorry, if West did not have the last club to cash, yeah, because obviously here where he does, if it loses, then we're just down.
Declare would have pitched a club here on the 7 of diamonds. Pitching the 10 of spades doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
I was wondering about that also, possibly operator. So I think Real Bridge has no undo function, right? Which is one reason that we're seeing some of these uncorrected errors where on bridge base you just hit the undo button.
No, I guess, I mean, play's continuing. This feels like an error because, just because West could have the king of spades and not the long club, but the way the clubs were played, I think it's actually pretty likely that West has the jack remaining, because it went low club to the king, so West is marked with the queen, but then the 10 of clubs came back next, not the jack. So I think Declare might actually know about the jack of clubs.
And that's probably true, but there's no reason still not to, sometimes weird things are happening, right? Like, there's still no reason for this 10 of spades play. Well, I guess maybe the did you plan on going like King of Hearts hard and then play them? That, I guess that would work if West doesn't have the last club also.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Declare something in mind.
I'm searching. I'm fishing, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you hold on to the club or not, because West can't really be getting squeezed in all three suits. There's just not enough cards in West's hand. And if you could cash the king of hearts and exit the 9 of clubs, then that would be great. But you just don't have the transportation to do so anymore. So I don't think there is a legitimate reason to hold on to this 9 of clubs.
No, I don't think so either, but yeah.
Yeah, Snoo asks, is there a squeeze if West has the last heart instead of a spade? Well, sure, but then West has already bared the king of spades, right? Because if we're playing West for the jack of clubs, because that's obviously what Declare did by pitching the 10 of spades, then West is holding on to the jack of clubs. If we can throw them in hearts, they have to have 2 hearts, and therefore they have only 1 spade. So Declare could think about playing a spade to the ace. Like, at least you'd be playing for something. It wouldn't be a complete nullo to go spade to the ace here. But that feels pretty far-fetched.
Yeah, I do wonder if maybe at this point, maybe Declare just missed that possibility of the spade finesse to the queen and not being down immediately, and now is regretting this 10 of spades choice. I don't know.
Yeah, we're seeing, again, South is a very slow player, so we're seeing that once again here. Okay, spade to the queen. Okay, 3-0 made 3. Both tables, we get the push. So, quite a few umps exchanging hands on a couple of boards back-to-back. On to board 20 in this room. So can West open 2 diamonds? That's the first question.
I will take a look. He can. Yes, he can. They're playing weak twos in 3 suits.
And he does. And he does. 2 diamonds passes around to south, who balances 2 no trump. North doesn't have anything to say over that. So presumably you lead a 4th best diamond. Goes to the king, and for a brief moment, West is going to be excited.
Yeah, if he's had another one, then he was about to beat this before giving Declare his lead. In real life, if you're East, what do you do? Probably just play a club?
In real life, what do I do if I'm East, considering I'm end-played in 3 suits? Good question.
Exactly.
I mean, technically a spade doesn't give up a trick, it only gives up an entry, which in this case is as good as a trick.
Yeah, part of it could just have Queen Doubleton the clubs instead of King Doubleton, and then you're not really end played, and starting clubs might actually make something good happen.
Yeah, or Declare has Ace Queen Doubleton, and then a club through actually sets up quite a few tricks.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so the club switch is definitely the most optimistic defense.
Yeah, but you're playing him, so you need to find 5 further defensive tricks. You got to be optimistic about something.
Right. Yeah, a heart just really doesn't look appealing.
I mean, looking at that Jack 4th and dummy, I think you probably know that there's no future in the heart suit. Like, what is partner's weak 2 based on? Even if Declare has the ace of diamonds and duck this king, which is very possible, are you really beating the hand by shifting to hard? Like, maybe that gives you a diamond and 3 hearts on a really good day and 1 spade, and that's 120. You're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're right that the best chance is to just switch to clubs rather than being passive. Sometimes passive defense can work out against these 2 no-trump contracts because Declare playing out of their own hand just doesn't have enough tricks. And sometimes it can be right to try and knock out an entry from dummy, for example, a spade switch here. Like, a spade switch, I think, is very infrequently going to lose a trick. If Declare has 4 of them, then you're only getting 1 spade trick anyway. Declare is going to take 2 hooks against your partner's hand, and if Declare has 3 of them, as they do here, then... so he does switch to spades. Goes to the 10, jack, and ace. And this is going to work out pretty well for East-West, because now East will be able to win the 2nd spade and play a 3rd round, sticking Declare in hand.
Sorry, 1 second to respond to a quick email, and then I'll be right back with you.
And I guess Declare could duck the jack of spades. We've seen this play fail spectacularly before, and it might happen again. Like, technically, he still gains 2 spade tricks by ducking the jack, because he'll duck the return and then be able to overtake the 3rd round, and the 6 will be high. But this is a really funny way to lose a couple spade tricks.
As you say, North's pace of play is getting a little aggravating.
Yeah, South. South is the one.
South,
right. It really is. It's like every trick. And this is something that I think you can kind of tell the difference between like expert players and world-class players in a sense from this sort of thing. Like, experts sometimes will like play a card, reevaluate their sense of the hand, play another card, reevaluate their sense of the hand, and they're like building this mental picture. Like, really, really strong players, both on offense and defense, will think for a while at some point in the hand, maybe once or twice even, but they'll play like 3 or 4 tricks very quickly, because once they come up with their plan, they're kind of prepared for all of the different contingencies and what they think is going on. The other table went down in a no trump in the South. So I guess West didn't have a 2-diamond preempt available, and South just got to open a no trump all pass. North also not paying attention to my videos. Alright, Declare has won the ace of spades and decides to take a club finesse. This is going to be a spectacular failure.
Yeah, I mean, if West figures out what's going on and returns one, it's going to be the end of the world here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's hard, you know, like, it is a little counterintuitive, especially after reskifting to that spade. Yeah, like...
The 8 of spades, I think, a bit of an error. East's low spade switch could easily have been king 7/4, and now the 6 of spades would be high, whereas if West kept the 8 of spades and shifted back to the 3, then the king would drop Declare's queen, and then a spade to the 8, unblocking the suit, and the 7 of spades would still be in East's hand. So I think a bit of a technical error, although sometimes you do want to give up technical chances for the sake of just giving your partner the right count card back.
Yeah, so it looks like Declare can now get out for down 1, right? By exiting ace and a club. He can catch 3 club winners, but then it's going to be unplayed in hearts, and Declare will take a club and 3 hearts and a spade from here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, if he plays the king of hearts now, it's going to be much worse for him. He'll be down at least 2, even if he makes that club exit. He still just have the extra winner.
No, king of hearts heart, and East is then played.
And East is then played. Yeah, so East can now take... I guess that'll be down 1, because West will get his ace of diamonds in trick 13.
Yeah. There it is. So East gets in, cashes the queen of hearts.
Yeah, if hearts had been 3-3, there's actually, and you said the jack of clubs, this actually was going to be a make. Right. No, that's not possible, because West couldn't possibly have 5 diamonds in East.
And East forget to return 1, yeah.
East forget to return 1, but, you know, East also just couldn't possibly have a second diamond on the bidding, I don't think. Even this West would not open a 5-card diamond suit red. Ace Jack 9 5th. Like, there might be 5-card suits he would open, but I don't think the one he would actually hold is among them.
East plays back the jack of clubs. Funny guy. Just in case Declare was already prepped with the 7 of clubs from hand, trying to catch him off guard with the IRL misclick.
Alright, so played it a trick better, but also was a trick higher, so that was a push.
Okay, well...
They played it a trick better because there might have just been different considerations in one no.
Yeah, for sure.
Took one more trick.
Board 21. So we're 5 boards in. We got 10 more to play in this set, and then there'll be a lunch break. And are we resuming half an hour earlier again?
I'll take a look, but it is irrelevant to me. I have dinner plans, so I won't be joining you.
Great. So 2 passes go around to South, opens a club, a spade overcall from West, got that 5-card major. North bids 2 clubs. Huh?
And, you know, we've said this many times, but spectators, if you're the sort of person who opens a diamond to have the convenient club rebid, stop doing it immediately.
Yeah, that's true. 2 clubs is a weird bid by North, yeah?
You know, maybe, but as opposed to a negative double or just, a somewhat more normal pass, probably.
Yeah.
Me, I guess if like there's some reason to believe your partner has real clubs, sure, but I think there, almost certainly isn't. I think probably he just wants to deprive East of the opportunity to make a Cupid raise since his hand is horrible and his partner opened in third seat.
Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Yeah, I could definitely see that coming up and being relatively important.
No, so in fact, the Vanderbilt start time is the same. They moved the first session up, but the second is unchanged.
Gotcha.
Which makes sense. Just allow that extra half an hour for 15 minutes per segment behind screens. But once you've allowed it on the front end, you don't need to adjust the back end.
So is Edgton just going to bid 4 spades here? Is he going to make a game try? What's the move over 3 clubs?
I think probably you want to introduce hearts, right? Because so he knows almost certainly that he has a 5-3 spade fit, right? Because he would have done something different with a 4th trump, which means he knows he's getting tapped immediately. If he can get to a 4-4 heart fit instead of a 5-3 spade fit, he really wants to.
Yeah. That seems like a good consideration, especially because the spades are so weak.
Yeah. Well, actually, the spades being weak, sort of goes both ways. If partner has the spade strength, then when the spades are 3-2, the tap is going to be less devastating.
Right, but if partner doesn't have the spade strength, then you might not even be able to pull trumps after getting tapped once. You're off the partner has jack third of spades, they force you, you play a trump, they win, they force you again. You can't really afford to play another trump.
Yeah, and mostly I just want to get to hearts because I would really rather be able to take the tap without affecting the longest hand's trump length.
Yeah, so 3 hearts, 4 spades by Whibley. Makes a lot of sense. He basically had a maximum for his 2 spade bid earlier.
Yeah, and the heart bid makes his hand better. The queen 9/3 is now looking really good.
Yeah, so we will get the jack of clubs lead, and then Declare has some work to do.
Yeah, the diamond finesse is on, but you can't take all your red suit finesses, and I guess you can take a heart finesse trick too and figure that now you have an extra heart entry for a diamond finesse if you need it.
Oh,
or North might ignore your principles and lead a doubleton.
Yeah, these are just always bad leads. Well, as South, you have to play the king at trick 1. Partner could be leading from queen 10/3.
Yeah. Or queen 10, more than 3rd if they're playing 3rd and 5th leads.
Right. So, that's going to pick off the entire diamond suit.
I guess he can't have more than 4, but he could have queen 10-7-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be enormously helpful for Declare, both stopping him from needing 2 extra entries for diamond finesses, as well as depriving the defense the opportunity to get a tap going.
Yeah, I think you might just lead the queen of spades immediately. That way you can pull 2 rounds of trumps, and if the ace gets held up, then you're in dummy. If you play a spade to the jack and it loses, and it wins, then you can't really play a second trump. That might get ducked, and you're in the wrong hand. Anyway, he decides to play spade to the jack. South ends up winning because he had ace doubleton, and now Declare can just pull trumps and take the heart finesse. Even if he didn't have this ace of clubs to cash, he could start with the 9 of hearts. Wait, what?
Yeah. That's bizarre.
I think this one was a misclick by the operator.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, again, as we see sometimes, the operator, especially some of the operators aren't even bridge players, right? They're, spouses or children who just happen to be there, so they may just not, understand that, the 9 of hearts is the normal play there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of an important suit combination to know if you're a newer player, like this queen 9 small opposite ace jack 10 fourth specifically. If you lead the queen on the first round, then if you play low, you can play low to the jack, but you don't you'll end up losing a trick if it's king fourth on side, because you can't get back over to take another finesse. If you lead the queen and unblock the jack or 10 from hand, then the 9 will get covered on the next round. And then, oh no, now there's no video on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's a combination that comes up over and over and over again.
Okay, I'm sorry, chat. It looks like we have some issues. I'm going to restart the stream, and I will be back up in